Hello. Welcome. It is Sunday. It is that time of the week. Hopefully you can all see and hear me. Welcome one at all. Hang on. Beverage needed. Doesn't really work with tea, that. Yeah, it really doesn't work at all. Yeah. Welcome all. It is Sunday, it is Warhammer Sunday Times. It's that time of the week when I work on my Warhammer nonsense and invite you along to hang out and have a good time in the chat while I do attempt to do some work. If you've not seen one of these before, do other stuff during the week, but normally on a Sunday I work on my Warhammer army, the unending forces of the Holy Contrivance, apart from the last few months when I haven't. Because I've been trying to catch up with the Warhammer Conquest, and then for the last few months when I haven't been doing even that, because I've been doing this little, what's it called? Funko Pop, Angry Marine. So but hopefully we're going to get this done today, get this finished, so that from next week I can get back on to doing Warhammer Sundays, working on my Warhammer Conquest backlog, because I've got a billion things piled up in envelopes that I need to do for Warhammer Conquest. So hopefully this will be finished today. As always, it's just a chance for you to hang out in the chat and have a good time while I try and do some work. If you can't see the chat anywhere, the chat is here on your telly screen. There. But if you can't see where you can do the typey chat, you need to make sure... I need to make sure I open the window. It's going to get very... Give me 1 second. I forgot to open the window and it's warm already. Hang on. Oh, unintentional moisture. Hang on. Oh, that's better. Oh, a bit of air. Oh, yes. A bit of damp moisture. Moist, cold dampness is always welcome. There we go. Yes, so what was I talking about? Yes, if you can see the chat there, but you want to join in the chat, because all the people in chat are just really, really awesome people, and you need to get to hanging out with them. You need to make sure you're on the YouTube page to watch this, not embedded in Facebook or Ello or somewhere else. So if you can't see where you can do the typey, click the YouTube icon at the bottom right corner, down here somewhere underneath the video player, and that will take you, insta-magically transport you to a land where you can join in the type. It's called YouTube, and you can join in the chat. And you want to later on, because we'll do some sticker giveaways later on. But plus, everybody in chat's awesome anyway. So welcome. As always, we've got the Stream Boss battle going on here. If you don't know what that is, very, very quickly, because I do get sick of explaining this each week. All this opening stuff, I get bored of this opening nonsense. It's just like, can I just get on with it? Anyway, yes, Stream Boss battle. Basically, you guys, the current stream boss is not Model Making Guru, it's Kevin, it's Simon Reynolds, our good friend Simon Reynolds, Golden Demon winner extraordinaire, a beautiful painter. I mean, the painting's beautiful, not him personally, I don't know, I'm shutting up now. Right, so, calm down. Yes, so Simon Reynolds is the current stream, I don't know where that came from. Simon Reynolds is the current stream boss. You can knock him off his throne by doing super chats, which is the little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. Or you can do tips through the tip jar, which is the address is there at streamlabs.com/model making guru. The more of a tip you put through, or the more you put through on a super chat, the more of Simon's health you knock off. And if you get him to 0, you win all the money that's been raised through the super chats and the tips. You don't actually win the physical money. I basically say this is how much it is. Now you can now go and order, or you can go and choose a lot of stuff from Games Workshop or Forge World, or if you're in the EU or the UK, Goblin Gaming. You can basically take your pick of Warhammer and Forge World stuff, get it all, and I'll order it for you. I pay for it with the money that's been raised, and then it arrives on your doorstep, and you have many things to play with. And as an example, when Simon became stream boss by knocking Aviad off, he won 500 quid worth of stuff. So get your tips and super chats coming through. I've already got the sniffly nose because the camera's been on more than 3 seconds. So anyway, today we shall carry on with the Spessball read. Now, before we get going, very quick shout out to the people that support this channel. Of course, my lovely Patreon supporters, my patrons, who is most of my income comes from them. And they keep me going, they keep the lights on, they keep this channel active, and they keep me in business. So if you'd like to become a patron, go to patreon.com/model making guru and help out. From as little as $1, it's all in American dollars, but as little as $1 a month, you can help keep this channel going, help keep the lights on, and really help me out, because I do this for my living, so all support is greatly acknowledged. Don't forget, of course, this channel is also sponsored by emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. There's an address in the description below the video, and of course, more importantly, because it's a Warhammer stream. It's also supported by Goblin Gaming. There's a link in the description below the video. They offer 20% off RRP for Games Workshop, Malifaux, Conflict 47, and massive savings on everything else. And if you want to get those massive savings and help me out and support this channel, I'm fighting a burp, I do apologise. And it tastes like, jelly beans. Ooh, it's quite pleasant actually. Yes, they offer big savings on everything. If you want to help this channel out at the same time, use the link that's in the description below. There is a link in there. That's my affiliate link. Every time you use that link to order from Goblin Gaming, if you're in the EU or the UK, I get a little bit of commission because it tells them that I sent you. So do keep that link handy, keep that address handy. You never know when you might need it, and it really helps me out because it helps me earn a little bit of income as well. Anyway, enough of all the preamble. I hate doing all that nonsense before we get going. It's just kind of like, oh, get out the way, get out the way. If you wonder why I talk at top speed when I do that bit, it's because I'm British, and British don't like asking for things. We don't like asking for money and favours and stuff like that. It's not in our nature. Right, let's have a quick look at chat and see who we got in before we get going. Let's have a look. Now, I don't know who. I know the first person in was actually Pascal. We're back on form now. That was hours and hours and hours ago. But the first person I've got on my chat here, because it had to reload it a few times, is Beyond Hope. Beyond Hope says, "Hi guys, just planning my monthly order with Goblin Gaming and seen that Vallejo have a game colour called Brassy Brass. Any ideas what colour it is?" Yeah, /S, obviously. And Dad's in. Hey Dad. Dad said, "Andrew, I could hazard a guess, but I'm rubbish at guessing." Yes, Dad is in. Dad's one of your mods. Dad is lovely, 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 lovely fella. Everybody loves Dad. Dad's brilliant. Dad's everybody's dad, which is why he's called Dad. And he'll look after you. He'll keep you safe. But if you cross him, he'll shoot you into space with a massive fiery catapult. And then when you crash back down to Earth, he'll dance on your charred and shattered corpse, laughing all the time. So don't cross him. But he's a lovely fella. Let's have a look. We also have Pascal is in, as well as I said he was the first one. Let's have a look. We have Osric 9000 is in. He says, "Not quite first," is his first comment. Not quite first. Eric Graham is in. Welcome, Eric. Mordraka 09. Good time to drop out of Star Wars The Old Republic for the stream. See, I know what SWTOR stands for. Now, where did I put that mini to paint tonight? Frankie Goes to Hobboard is in. Welcome, Frankie. Beck Storm says, "Whoa, just made it back in time for the stream." Welcome, Beck. We have Belly. Beyond Hope has already asked the question, even though Dad hasn't asked the question. But I'll answer the question, even though Dad hasn't asked it, but he's about to. He says, "Belly, 2 times £1/4 beef burgers and a tin of spaghetti bolognese. Bench converting Age of Sigmar Glaive Wraith Stalkers to Grimghast Reapers. Oh, too early." Or £1/4 beef burgers and a tin of spaghetti bolognese. That sounds like a tin of Heinz spaghetti bolognese and some Bird's Eye or Findus beef burgers. That sounds like student food. I approve heartily of that. We have Kenneth, my very, very, very dear friend Kenneth from Australia, popped in, but he's popped out again because he's gone to bed, because it's Australia. It's the middle of the night now. And his puppy dog's probably telling him off for not going to bed, so he's gone to bed. So welcome and thank you for coming in, Kenneth. We have TK is in, another one of your mods. TK is a lovely, lovely, crazy little Dutch fella. TK's awesome. But again, he will break you in half if you cross him. Yeah, TK's awesome. Welcome, welcome, TK. Doesn't often get to make it. Being a new dad and all that, he's got a little tiny isopod crawling around the house, so he doesn't get a lot of time now. I watched a video about isopods last night, and now everything is isopods. Isopods are brilliant. Who have got? Vasily is in. Last time I was this early, I was a sperm, says Vasily. We have... Beck Storm has returned home after mission failed on the hunt for an old Sony or Mitsubishi CRT monitor. Can't find any CRTs in charity shops or used tech shops at all these days. Yeah, they're quite hard to find now, and if you do find them, people selling them know what they're selling and they go for a fortune. But yes, let's have a quick look. If you're wondering, I suspect I didn't read the rest of the chat too much, but I think he's looking for an old CRT for old games consoles and things like that. I have 5 CRTs, says Vasily. What else have we got? We have... There's a big long conversation on about CRTs, which is why I'm struggling to find the next name to call out. Between Beck and Vasily. Bibbo, Chris at Gross Models is back in. Another one of your mods. Lovely, lovely little fella, but he's just lovely. He won't break you in half and shoot you into space and dance on your charred and rotted cups if you cross him, because he's just lovely. He's lovely to everybody. If you cross him, he'll just be lovely at you. So that's Chris. Is in at Gross Models. We have... Vasily says the best place for getting CRTs is the recycling centre in the UK. I'll start that again. The best place is the recycling centre in the UK, mate, to get CRTs. Wait, hang on. Let's start that again. I think he means the best place to get CRTs in the UK is a recycling centre. Go in with a crate and they will let you pick as many as you want. Well, they did here in Cardiff. Yeah, try your local tip. Your local recycling centre. Mine doesn't let you take stuff, but they do have like a, well, obviously not if it's in the bin with rubbish, but they have separate stations for like televisions, monitors, big massive electrical equipment. So they might let you go in, and there's no guarantee what you pick up will work. It might be old and knackered and not work, but it might be something you can fix. You never know. Or, not going to cost you anything. They might not let you do it, but they might do. Eric Graham asked Chris at Gross Models how the new job at the tow truck company going, but I don't get that joke. Who else is going? Just Django. Sorry, Django is in. It's just Django. It's not just Django. It's just Django, because that's why it's called Just Django, because it's Django, not just Django. So although it says Just Django, it's just... Moving on. Welcome, Django. We have Raging Bassist has ordered his Hero Forge miniature. He says, even though it's going to take 3 weeks for my miniature to arrive, I have the paint planned out and marked, the lids for easy pickings. I'm a bit excited and want to make it my best work. It's always the way to approach it. I actually have, I must get round to ordering my Hero Forge figures. I did 2. One was like meant to just look a bit like me when I had the long hair, and it doesn't look like me at all, so I put a mask on it, but it's got the long hair. I haven't got the long hair now. One is like an animal dog, like wolfy type character kind of thing. I must get them printed out and painted up. They're both carrying like awesome weapons. I think the wolfy type dog character has a biker jacket, boots, a massive Frenchy Spass style shotgun, and a cup of coffee. And also his little sidekick is, I think, a penguin, because it's the nearest I could get to a puffin, I think. If you've not checked out Hero Forge, I assume it's heroforge.com. Go and check it out. It's basically, you can design your own tabletop miniature character out of all loads and loads of presets. You can design your own, and they print them out in various different formats, from high quality plastic to brass and steel to low quality prints and stuff like that. It's not cheap. And do make sure, if you go in, I learned this to my detriment, if you go to the website and go into the character creator screens, you need to make sure your browser has hardware acceleration enabled. If you don't, it'll look like a soupy mess. Because I was building my characters, and I'm like, wow, there's no surface details, rubbish. But I'm using Chrome, and I was like, I'll just turn on, because I was seeing all these picture screenshots of people's builds, and there were all these detailed belt buckles and clasps, and I'm like, I haven't got that. I've got this just smoogey clay thing. Went into Chrome settings, turned hardware acceleration on. Bing! There you go. Lovely 3D graphics. So go and check it out. Hero Forge is really quite good. Underdog Painting is in. Hey peeps, how's everyone? Welcome, Underdog Painting. Jamie Bone is in. Welcome, Jamie. Welcome. Chicken? Roast chicken, perhaps? Not that we do politics or religion on this show or anything like that, but I'm just going to read Beck's comments. He says, Googled it since I can't care less for politics these days, but I find it funny that Google lists Boris Johnson, Trump and voluntary human extinction as things people search all at the same time. I like that. Let's have a look. We have James Lorimore is in. No, you've not missed it at all, dude. Raging Bassist, who popped down to Goblin Gaming, my channel supporter, earlier on. Popped in, used my voucher code, which is in the description below this video, Pimpy. He says, I saw Sam at Goblin for the first time in ages, had a nice chat, just don't mention Finest to him. Finest? What's Finest? Do you mean the Games Workshop fine mould? Not fine mould. Fine cast stuff? Because it's not supposed to be very good, that stuff. Is that what you mean? I don't know what you mean by Finest. Jamie Bone says, and Jamie Bone basically just does Dad's job for him and says, bench and belly. Thank you, Jamie. Osric 9000 is in. Wayne Haywood is in, so welcome to you two. Gaz Vickers is in. Oh, Canada, your land is girt by... No, let's move on from that one. Let's have a look. Welcome, Gaz. Raging Bassist, I think has a new job, and he says, by the way, dudes, when you're not used to having weekends off and then you start getting every other weekend off, did it take time to get used to it? I can't get the knack of it. Yeah. Well, yeah, because if you've always had days off during the week and suddenly you've got the days off are typically a lot of the places you want to go to are shut because it's Sunday. Yes, it does take a little while. You know, you want to go to the bank, but you've had a lie-in and now it's 1 o'clock and the bank's shut. And you're like, oh, the post office is closed as well. Monkey fluffers. Yeah. Do. When's Fox going to start speaking, says Beyond Hope. Haha. Ramen slurp intensifies, says Beckstorm. This is correct. We have... Who else have we got? Right, Jamie Bone. There we go. Apart from actually doing Dad's job for him and asking the question, slacking Dad, Jamie Bone also answers the question. He says, Bench, Bandai 148 Star Wars ATST. Awesome. I can't remember if you've done the Bandai before, have you, Jamie? I think you have, but if you haven't, you're going to love Bandai. Belly, roast chicken and all the trim. There you go, see. I knew. Roast chicken and all the trimmings. Good girl. I have fallen quite behind on the chats and the live stream, says James Lorimer. That's all right. Vasily says, I didn't press play, FFS. David Butcher, that model is in. Welcome, David. I'm using your Sunday best name now. You're probably in trouble. You're going to be in trouble with Pip, so I might as well I'll just do it for you and say, David. So yes, welcome, Dave. David Butcher model, another one of my lovely mods. Dave will just break you in half and throw you into space anyway, whether you're good or bad. So be nice to Dave. He won't really. Chris says, with the bench and belly, he says, a Rustler's burger. Oh, a Rustler's burger. Oh, good girl. If you're not in the UK, you won't know what that is, but you probably have something similar in your land of choice. A Rustler's burger is one of them things where you get like a burger and a sachet of sauce and a sachet of some bizarre liquid of some sort, and you basically put it in the microwave for like 60 seconds, and then you eat it, and it's made of like cardboard and rubber and dead things, and it's probably just a complete microbial mat formed into a burger shape. But my God, they're trashy, but they're good. Yeah, 2 of them. Oh, a Rustler's burger and a foot. You can work out which one is which, he says. Yes, he's working on a model of the human foot. Let's have a look. James Lorimer says, do you want to hear a great story? I made a leather wallet to try out leatherworking, and not long after, I lost my homemade wallet. Oh. Leatherworking, I like it. If you're in the Boom Hut, James, don't forget, of course, the Boom Hut is not just model making, it's any kind of crafting or making we like to talk about. So I think you're in a Boom Hut, make sure you put some pictures up of your leatherworking. We like to see it. It's not just, we've got glass blowers and puppet makers in there, so any kind of making is allowed in the Boom Hut. We also have Skullfish. I didn't take a deep enough breath. Is in, he says, afternoon all, hope you're having a good Sunday. Skullfish. Chat just nearly vanished on me. I don't know what that did there. Right. Chat just jumped and then vanished. What happened? Let's have a look. Chris says, Skullfish. He goes a bit Swedish and misses out all the vowels. Skullfish. What do you call a fish with no eyes? You guys are a hard audience. Candygram for Mongo is in. Candygram for Mongo. Nim is in. Good morning, everyone, she says. Dad, you still haven't asked the question. Dad, you really are slacking. I don't know. God, we have... Gaz Vicker says, Bench, now as the waifu is poorly sick, Belly will be a Sunday roast chicken and all the roast beef and roast veg and spuds. Yes. Don't know what I'm having for dinner today. Don't know. Might be a go somewhere and get some food. It might be a phone a little man to come and deliver it. I like that. You put some numbers on a telephone and a little man turns up with a bag full of warm foods. It's the miracle of modern existence. Food. Today's breakfast was oatmeal and roast, not at the same time, says James Larimore. Aha. I turned up late, but I had a note from Dad, said Butcher that model. Yeah, Dave, the note from Dad just says, don't allow this man into public places for your own safety. No, thank you for coming, Dave. It's nice when Dave, because there's a lot of people I see in chat occasionally who don't get a chance to come every week, and obviously Dave's a mod, so. But it is nice when you get the people who occasionally get a chance to come in. And, you know, I know Dave, I know all my mods and my friends, I know their real world situations, so I know they're not always available. Dave's often at work, so, and he's got a big family, so he's obviously busy. But yeah, thanks for coming in. Raging Basis says, I may end up pre-ordering the Judge Dredd wargame from Goblin, but I want the models for the Judge Dredd RPG, really. Beckstorm asks, isn't Dad the fella who likes the colour blue? Oh, likes the colour blue. Now I know why there's a comment later on from Eric Graham saying, I think Beckstorm just got banned. Oh, Dad says, what? Beckstorm, staying quiet, hiding from the banhammer. I have my red fleece ready for Warhammer World, says Dad. Who else have we got coming in? Django says, I love Fox's explanation of my name. Yes, it takes about 5 minutes. It's great. James says, I recently painted a Gundam Exia in custom Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas theme. I like that. Pictures in the Boom Hut. If you're not in the Boom Hut, James, why are you not in the Boom Hut? Get in the Boom Hut. I'm sure you are. Ba, ba, ba. Gross Model says, you have a Hero Forge of Wolfview. I printed it. You did, actually. You did. I forgot that. It is here. Chris did. The other thing with Hero Forge, if you have your own 3D printer, Bob, you can download your own 3D designs and print them off yourself. So I forgot. Chris gave me that. So I do have that. That's the Wolfie one. You can't really see. I'll zoom in a little bit. Let me zoom to the camera place. It's bright. I love the orange colour. I wondered why he printed it orange. Yeah, there you go. It's a little bit of clean-up, but it's a nice looking little model, that. But yes, the Wolfie one actually has a badger. Has a badger as a sidekick. Badger. Mushroom. Copyright. Yeah, so that's the little Wolfie character. I don't know if you can get different sizes. Is when you did it, Chris? Is this like the only size? Is that how? I don't know if this is how big the actual Hero Forge figures are. Because I've no idea how big they are. So at least I know if that's about the right size. Or is that printed bigger or smaller? I don't know. It's a nice print though. It's a really nice print on your 3D printer, my Bob. I might need to sand his butt a bit. There's a bit of butt sanding needed. But yeah, he's got his 2 pistols. He's got some kick-ass shotgun device with like 3 barrels. He's got a sniper rifle on his back because you have to go in armed. And then he's got his most important thing of all, the cup of coffee. Yes. And he's got the flowing hair because, of course, when I did all these, I had the long, billowy hair, which I might grow back. And he's got a puppy dog face. So there you go. That's that dude. I must paint that. Clean it up and paint it. I'll zoom back out again. Zooming. There we go. Oh, sniffly nose. Are we caught up on the chat yet? I don't mind taking my time, actually, because what you don't know is 20 minutes before the stream started, I gave this a blast of matte varnish, so I'm waiting for it to fully cure. Let's have a look. Vasily says, I know I should have shut up on my face. What's the matter, you? Oh, God, oh, wow, 1980s flashback. Holy cow. My brain's now disappeared into a swarming morass of really bad 1980s holiday camp type songs that they play at the disco. Oh, God. Oh, yes. Oh, Finecast. Yes, Raging Bassist. Don't mention Finecast. No, I wouldn't mention Finecast to Sam or anybody, to be honest, because I have no desire to ever... Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. I've got to go up on my chair. If you hear a lot of crashing and banging, I've fallen off and I've died. Hang on. I've got to get a thing from a high place. Where is it? That's not it. Hang on. That's not it. That's an Ultraman cart. That's not the one I'm looking for. Oh. Where is it? There we go. I think I only actually have one actual... Good, the dust on that. One Finecast model. Slime Arbo. Yes, that's the only Finecast I've got. I don't really opened it yet. I think that counts as Finecast. I don't know if it counts as Finecast. It's resin. But yeah, I would never voluntarily mention Finecast to anybody because Forge World. If you don't know what Finecast is, Forge World Games Workshop do all the plastic stuff. I'm gonna take this plastic case off so you can see it. Where's me opening things knife? I can't find it now. Oh, hang on. Games Workshop do the plasticky stuff. Forge World do the resin. If you know your Forge World is the expensive resin stuff. And Forge World specialise in resin. However, Games Workshop do a bit of resin on the side. It's called Finecast. And from what I've heard, basically, it's kind of bish. And somebody asked me about this, by the way. Why do I keep saying bish when bish means bitch? It's no. I've always used bish to mean rubbish or bad or terrible. It seems to have got recently reassigned to mean something else completely. So yes, I've always known that I've always read and heard from other people that Finecast is not great. But I don't know. I've never tried it. So yeah, little Slimar bow figure. I'm sure. Have I got two of these? Because I'm sure I've already opened this and looked at it before, but it was completely sealed. Why do I get the impression I've already looked at this before? I don't know. It's weird. Let's have a quick look at it and see if I can see any issues. I think the thing I've heard about Finecast is it's just often like not the best quality. It's got like lots of bubbles and mold issues and slippage. I can't really see any problems straight away from there, but I'd have to actually try making it first, putting it together. We'll find out. I'm sure I've already seen this. I'm sure I've opened one of these already. I'm getting a real weird feeling now that I've opened one of these already, and I shouldn't have opened that because that's now going to be worthless. I don't know. Oh well. I think I got two, and I kept one. No, I don't think I did. I don't know. I'm getting weird brain moments now. Get in the box. There we go. So I must do that at some point. It's another thing I need to get around to doing. I must have bought two. I know Paul sent me one. I can't remember. Anyway, put that there. What are we talking about? Where are we? Monkey fluffers. Now that's a job no one wants, says Gaz Vickers. Oh yes. Yes, yeah, Finecast. I wouldn't recommend them, to be honest. It's ropey enough going for Forge World sometimes, but Finecast I wouldn't bother. Raging Basis says, Belly, nothing, not eating in 2 days, bad anxiety. That's bad. Eat some food, dude. Kebabs, they fix everything. Workbench just finished my Clockwork Dragon as Raven. Clockwork Dragon and Raven, so may start my Griffin next before my custom arrives. Nim says, Belly, dumplings later for lunch, turkey chili for dinner, bench, not my camphor, waiting for paints to come in, working on a 135th Sherman Easy 8 with crew, cool. I haven't done Bandai before, said Jamie. Oh, I hope you're enjoying it then, mate, because Bandai is just... Hang on, let me just move this. Bandai is awesome for the detail and for the build quality. It's just great fun. Just remember not to use any washes with thinners. Snowman HFC is in. Welcome, Snowman. Chat just jumped. I may have to skip a bit of chat. Because we're going to be here all day. I'm looking forward to a king-size chicken kebab from the nice blokes round the corner. Bench, I stupidly started to add more panel lines to the Mobius Pegasus. Oh well. Tyler Braun, can I be model making guru? Can I be model making guru? Says Tyler. Don't know, maybe. Come back in a couple of years, Tyler, says Dad. My mods tend to be people that I know in real life. So, or people that I've known for a long time. There's no benefit to being a mod. Your name's blue and you get a spanner and you get to ban people. But other than that, let's have a look. Quanaman says, oh hey Quanaman, he says super soft sofa and its comfort cures what puts me into sleepy times. Didn't get me notification. Yay. David Butch, that model says belly bacon butty bench poking more holes in this bloody sub. Yes, Dave's doing the Revell 172nd U-boat, but he's doing the spanky version with the metal bits and stuff. And he's still doing it. It took me 2 days to... When I did the vents on mine, all the side vents, I spent 2 days with a pin vise and a very fine file and little bits of sandpaper. My fingers were like... afterwards. It was horrible. Let's have a look. Okay, I've jumped ahead a bit here because I'll be here all day. Beyond Hope says, Fox mentioned that before the stream started, there are 3D printable Angry Marine shoulder pads. Ooh, on the Thingiverse site for 28mm Spacey Maroons. Do you want a set? Ooh, I will definitely take a set. Yeah, if you, drop me a message on the Facebooks. I'll give you the money for it. I don't know if I'll add them to, because I think I saw the comment up at the top about add them to the army. I'll add them to, probably might, I don't have, let me just hang on, wait, that was not even, wait. There were not even words in that sentence. I don't know if I'll add them to the Warhammer Conquest stuff, because that's a thing between me and George. I don't know if he wants the Space Marines or the Death Guard yet, but I'd certainly add them to my my army, the unending forces of the Holy Contrivance. Would anybody be interested in seeing my Hero Forge, says Raging Bassist. Absolutely, post it up in the... I've got the sniffles. Post it up in the boom hut, dude. I posted mine up. Might start a nice long thread about people's Hero Forges. With the Bandai Star Wars kits, can you build them without glue, says Jamie Bone. You can build every single Bandai kit without glue. They specialise in push-fit kits. You don't have to glue any of them, but you can do if you want to. If you want to do a fixed pose or something like that. There's no glue involved in any Bandai kit, apart from some of the Gunpla kits where it's like tanks and stuff, and they're specifically marked. They're UCS hard graphs, so you won't have seen those. They're the only real glue kits they do. But yeah, anything like that, Star Wars kits, the Gunpla, anything else, no glue at all. You don't have to. That's why they also give you stickers and water slide decals, because they know that some people, younger builders, just get them for fun to play with, so they put stickers on. Whereas the more hardcore builders, they tend to use the water slides because they've got the choice. But yes, you don't need to glue. I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online for the past month and I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, I did play it for a while. I even subscribed to get the extra big backpack, but I kind of went off it after a while. Frankie Goes to Hobbywood says, Belly Tot Flambe. Ooh. You're going to have to explain that, because to me that just says it's a pie that's on fire. It's a burning pie. So yes, you need to explain. It's a bit like saying curry. You need to explain what's in the tart flambe. We need to know all the details, all the ingredients, what's in it. Bench 3 Warhammer 40k motorcycles. Oh, don't talk to me about those motorcycles. If it's the Space Marine one. Oh. Let's have a look. I think we're up to date. David Butch, that model says, trust us, you don't want the mod job, we get a script, and if we go off script, he beats us with sticks and we can't win a sticker. Yeah, and if you use metal co-hangers, I'll just go medieval on your ass. Joking. Right, need the Lunar Brew, says Raging Basis, back in a minute. 2 shakes raging, says Dad. Ew. Right, I think I'm up to... I think I'm up to date now. I've probably missed quite a bit. So if I've missed lots of comments or anybody calling anybody out and saying hello, I do the apologies. I just need to get through them. Right, let's crack on. Let's do some goddamn work. How are you all, folks? I hope you are all well. Yes, I've no experience of Finecast apart from that Slime Arbo, but I've not made him yet. I think I did get 2. I must have got 2. I don't know. I don't know. Something's weird. I'm sure I've looked at that before. So I've got that to make, and the only experience I've got of Forge World is my 10 Death Corps of Krieg. I've got these gloves hard to get on. I've got 10 Death Corps of Krieg infantry. Now I haven't built those or anything yet, so I have looked at them, and they look pretty cool. There's a few soft squishy details, like some of the Aquila on the helmets look a bit squishy, so yeah, they might not be brilliant. Cynical Steve says, afternoon all, sorry I'm late, been chewing my fingernails off catching up on this morning's rugby league. Frankie says, Fox, tart flambe is a very thin pizza dough with creme fraiche, onions and bacon on top. I need all of that into my face right now, apart from this tea. I need to eat all of that. There you go. See how much more awesome it is when you tell us what's in it. Now we can all sit there going, oh, I want that now, I'm jealous. Oh. Right. So, yes, I took this outside about half an hour before the show and I gave it a blast of the matte varnishings. I also finished up a few little details over the course of last week. I put some little highlights on the rubber tubing and on the rubber undersuit. This glove is doing my head in. I hate when you get a little bit of the glove that sticks up off the end of your finger and you're like, no! Did some more bits on the rubber tubing, finished off all the chipping. I have to be honest with you, I'm not on camera, I have to be honest with you, I'm not happy with it. I have to be honest with you, I'm not happy with it. And this happens if you this will happen from time to time. So if it ever happens to you, if it's never happened to you before, it will do at some point. But don't get upset when it does. I'm not happy with it. I'm happy with the face and the helmet. That's fine. I'm not happy with the chipping on the body. I went too far. I just went too far, too complicated. It looked great on the backpack. It looked fine on the helmet because it's quite big. When I did it on the body, because I've gone for like the real kind of all the paint's come off and you've got bare grey metal underneath. I think I just took it too far. It happens from time to time. It's not the end of the world. But I basically did too much, and now it's kind of really makes it look like he's got a disease, sort of like the measles. It may not come out on camera, but Osric 9000 today I knocked over a bottle of extra thin for the first time ever. I am a clumsy oaf. Dad, that sounds like a request to me. Osric 9000, you need to make a request of Dad. Dad can fix that for you. Yeah, so I went too far, I think. It looks okay on the head because you've only got like a little bit of chipping here on the corner, on that bit there, and a few little bits and bobs. That's not so bad. I'm quite pleased with that. But on the body, I just made it. This happens from time to time when I get carried away with chipping. I just do too much, and it looks like a real spotty, bitty thing. So yeah, but we're not gonna dump it. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. It's fine. It's just I've kind of gone off it a little bit, but we'll get it finished. So off camera, yes, I did finished all the chipping. I put some grey little highlights on the rubber suit and the bits. I put some white highlights on the Aquila. I put some Agrellan earth on at Te base. I forgot to paint it brown underneath, so it's got like a black undercolour, but that's fine because we're going to... Right, hang on. Where's the centre? There's the centre. Let me move the camera a bit. Right, there we go. Hopefully that's now still in focus. Let me know if I'm out of focus, dudes and dudettes. I know what you mean, Fox, says Chris. It's a little busy. Yeah, it happens sometimes. When I did my St Andrew Stein, I did too much chipping and it looked wrong. But we'll carry on. So yeah, we've got all that done. It's all been matte varnished. I put some Agrellan earth on the base, and I've put some black on the rim of the base just to make it look nice. I don't expect that will survive. There'll be lots of that chipping off, I think, in the rest of today. Eric Graham says, but then again, model making guru, it looks fine to me. Yeah, that's the other thing. Whenever you do something, you look at it and think, oh, I've messed it up. It looks terrible. Just remember that it looks terrible to you because you've been sat looking at it for days and days and days. To somebody else, it might look brilliant. So don't get too upset. I mean, I'll still stick it on eBay when I finished it, but right. So today we are going to. It's all been matte varnished. I need to do highlighting on the metallics. I need to do dry brushing for dirt and dust. I need to do highlighting on the gold. I need to stick some shrubbery on the base. And I think that's it, really. Not a lot to do today. Oh, I need to do the eyes as well. Osric 9000 says, I will now make a device. Any similarities to other devices will be entirely accidental. Probably. I know what you need, says Osric. Toasty's done back to work, says Snowman. Ooh, Toasties. Right, so what we're going to do first thing I'm going to do is put that over there. First thing we're going to do is sort out these eye bones. We need to give them the red glow. For that, it's going to be dead simple. We're just going to use some bloodletter, which is a glaze. We're going to glaze the colour in. I want it to make it look a little bit glowy, perhaps. A little bit glowy. Glowy! But not too much. Now, what I do need is something to use as a dry palette. Let me get my thing of dry palletings. Because I used to know a teacher at school that said because instead of because, and it's like because. Foxy, are you putting that on eBay and expecting someone to buy it? Yep, I will be. Mince and tatties tonight for dinner. Yeah, mince and tatties sounds good to me. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this glaze up slowly. So I'm not going to go straight in. with the... I've lost my thing now. Oh, I'm not organised. Not organised. Where's my Lamian medium? There we go, Lamian medium. It is already a glaze. I'm going to make it more of a glaze. I'm going to extra glaze it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get... which brush should I use? I shall be using... This week I shall be mostly using a shade brush. Oh, barky dog outside. It's a small annoying dog, so it can just shut up. Preferably just become mute would be great. So I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brushfuls of the Lamian medium. Now, a glaze is already thinned. It's a diluted paint. It's quite transparent. I'm going to make it more transparent just to give you some leeway. And the reason I'm doing this with the medium and not with water is because I want to make it more transparent, not thinner. I don't want to make it thinner. I want to make it more... I'm diluting it. Remember we said we're diluting it rather than thinning it. Thinning it makes it behave differently. Diluting it just makes it more transparent. So, what I'm going to put my other glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. That will be a good start. Okay, so we're going to go with a thin bit first, of the thinner area here. I'm just going to start by glazing over the eye completely, just to start to tint it. Now what I will do is go around the edge, over the eye a little bit, over the edge of the eye, so it goes onto the yellow. Because I want it to do both. I want it to be on the yellow as well as the red. I want to create a bit of a glow effect. So I'm not just painting on the white. I'm painting on the yellow a little bit as well. Now I've not got a lot on the brush. I'm not going super heavy, because we're doing it as a glaze, remember. We're adding a tint. Somebody was asking the other day, I think on Chris's stream, was asking what's the difference between a glaze and a shade. And the best way to think of a glaze is a tint. If you take something white and you paint it red, it just becomes red. If you take something white and you shade it red, then it will become sort of reddy coloured, but it will be patchy. The shade is not as transparent as it can be, so it'll have a patchy effect. It'll dry patchy here and there. If you take a glaze, then that will actually give you a more uniform tint. It's like taking a... think of a glaze. Like, imagine you've got a white object and you get a piece of clear red. In the theatre you call it gel. It's clear plastic that you can look through to change the colour of a light. You hold that over the white thing, it'll suddenly be a reddy pink colour. That's what a glaze is. It's like a tint. I'm just going to hairdryer this really quickly. 1 second. Hairdryer. Hot hairdryer action. Hairdryer. Drying in disguise. Takes a while. Takes quite a while. That will do for now. So we'll do another coat. We'll do another coat. And the thing with the glaze is, like I say, it's a transparent colour. So the first coat will tint the white a little bit. The second coat, because you're adding more pigment, will tint it a bit more. The third coat, because you're adding more pigment, will tint it a bit more and make it less transparent. It's building up a colour in layers effectively. Think of it like if you use Photoshop and you've got a layer set at 50% opacity. You can see through it, but if you add 2 layers at 50% opacity, you've basically got one at 100% opacity. So one glaze layer will be transparent. Excuse me. A second glaze layer will be less transparent because you're just building up the pigment, but more slowly than you would if you just painted over it. A bit weird there, I'm not sure what's going on with that. Let me just move that around a bit. What we'll do is we'll get more intense in a moment. But I'll just tiniest amount on that. And then we'll pull some up around the edge. Sometimes when you're doing a glaze as well, you can just touch the brush to an edge like that. Capillary action will pull it around the edge, and that's how you can get a sort of edge glow. Now, it is entirely possible to make a complete hash of this and make a mess of it. Don't expect anything less from me. Okay. Right, so another bit of hairdryer, 1 second. I'm kind of going over here so it's not quite so loud for you. Hey. Go to foot of our stairs. The red car around the blue car had a race. But all Red wants to do is stuff his face. He needs everything he sees, from trucks to pretty trees. The smart old blue he took the Milky Way. I don't know where that just came from. Okay, so we'll do the next layer. And what I can do here is I can go a bit more into the glaze where it was thicker and not on the edge. And I can really start to build it up and get it going quite nicely red. I was just sort of farting about before around the outside. Now I want to start getting it really red, because I want to start building up a nice glow around the edge. It may take quite a few coats, depends how far you want to go with it. Also, I want to avoid it pooling up really too much, because I don't want big blobs. Big blobs! Right, so more hairdryer. Let me know if this. Do let me know if the hairdryer is annoying, because I can always turn the microphone off when I do this. 1 second. Right. Okay, so now the last step, or hopefully the last step now, is to go in hardcore, full on, full power with the what's this called again? I've forgotten already. Bloodletter, that's it. Bloodletter. So this is basically the same stuff. This is what we just mixed in a minute ago. It's the same process, but this is not diluted with the lamy and medium. So now what we can do is we can go in and we can just go bthwam, like that. We have to make that noise, bthwam. It's very important. You have to say bthwam. I don't know why. It just is the law. You can go quite heavy here. And what I'm doing here is I'm counting on the idea that, like when I've done transparent colours on things before, the glaze will pull away from the raised areas and scoot down towards the bottom of the eye area. If you see me do like lenses on Gunpla or computer screens and things before, where I've painted it with a often like a periscope green colour or similar. And then I've just left it to use its own surface tension. Now it's not going to be nice and neat and tidy around the edge here, but that's fine, I don't really mind. Because I want it to look glowy. Glowy? That word went kind of weird, didn't it? Okay. I might want to just reduce that a little bit. I can always suck some of it up. Just a touch. Okay, so I'm probably still going to do more, I think, because this might not be enough. So we're going to leave that to dry for a bit. I shall put him there. I might take some of it out actually, because it's probably a bit too much. Because what we'll do is we'll work on this fade around the edge. So I'll let it dry for a bit. I'm just trying to suck out some of the excess. So I'll put him there to one side and hope it doesn't all pile up on one corner. What shall we do next? While we're waiting for that, we can crack on the next bit. Now what I need to do is I need to concentrate on die metallichen Gefahrten. Ja, das ist richtig. Time for some metallic touching in. Remember, this has been matte varnished, so it's all, that's the hairdryer. It's been matte varnished, so it's all not shiny. So there's a couple of things I need to do. First and foremost is find my lead belcher. Lead belcher. Or maybe I can't find it. Where is it? There it is. Start off with some lead belcher. I'll get me, where's that little palette card? I'm not going to use the wet palette for this. I'm going to do it on the dry palette, because Simon did tell me off, and he had a good point. If you'd use a wet palette, all your metallic flakes will basically just bugger off and it'll mess up the way it works. Also, they'll get into your wet palette, and it's a good point. I had never considered it really. I need a brush. I shall use my regiment brush. I shall get my helmet of seeing so I can see. And all we're going to do is, if you remember all that, I'll zoom in a little bit for you. Hang on. Where's the thing? There it is. Zoom in a little bit. Remember, all these colours that you're seeing on screen, they're not actually what the colours really truly look like. There's a lot of crappy webcam processing going on here. So if you remember, all the metallics were lead belcher first with a null oil wash. So what we want to do is not have too much paint on the brush. It's not quite dry brushing, but it's not quite not dry brushing. The first step we're going to do is get some lead belcher back on these metallics, just to pick out edges and lighten it up a touch. Now, I might be wondering why I'm not using a brighter metal than lead belching. You'll find out in a minute. So I just want to do little marks. Because the rest of it's been matte varnished, this lead belcher will hopefully now give you a little bit of a specular highlight. Just stand out a little tiny bit. And I'm doing it, I've taken a lot of the paint off the brush because I'm almost dry brushing but not quite. And I'm just trying to catch some edges. And it's more of a, I'm not changing the colour so much as adding a bit of a highlight, specular. I'm lightening it up a bit, but it's more about the specular highlight. Now we'll come and have a look at chat in a minute, so bear with me. Like here, I can do quite a bit on here because this is a flat open area. So I can be a bit more generous. Little bits there. Because I've taken a chunk of the paint off the brush and I'm just painting with straight paint, it does mean I can do a sort of slightly scrapey effect to give a hint of scrapey metal. You get a bit of a texture to the silver basically. Hopefully this is all on camera for you. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo-doo. So we've got that there. We've got this little bit here. Yeah, because it's not all completely full of paint. I can just drag the tip and get little, I'll get a bit of silver on there, but I'll tidy that later. Little scrapey effects, little almost brush marks, but not quite. It's just a way to bring that back. But this isn't the final step. That can go there. I hope this is all on camera for you. I've got that tune in my head now. The Milky Way advert. It was a terrible mistake for me to sing that because now it's completely stuck in my head. Gosh darn it. Right. So we've got the jump packs here. Thrustery bits. Now you could just do this as a dry brush, but I don't want to do a dry brush because I want to get less of a dry brush texture and more of a scraped, shiny effect. Go and look at like a handrail where it's mostly a bit grubby and it's not perfectly metallic and shiny. You'll often see there's like scrapes and scratches that are shiny and then scrapes and scratches that aren't shiny, so it's like a dull grey colour, and in places it's a little bit shiny. So I'm getting a lot of the paint off on the brush, but it's not a dry brush. I'm just trying to tease the paint along from the bristles. So go like this maybe. I'm not trying to repaint the whole thing. There's almost no paint going on there at all. Just slowly building it up, and I may go over with the shade again later on just to reinforce the little panel gaps. I might be doing that on the armour anyway, so it's fully expected to do that. And this is really just going to be more of a specular highlight for this particular step. The red car and the blue car had a race. But all Red wants to do is stuff his face. And he eats everything he sees, from trucks to prickly trees. But you see, smart old Blue. See, smart old Blue, he took the Milky Way. Yeah, see. Smart old Blue. So I've got that tune stuck in my head right now. Oh! Right, so I'll get a bit on here. I'm not used to using a dry palette for painting because it makes all the paint run out dead quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a lot of it off on the glove. On this bit, I'm just going to add some scratchings and scrapings. I could just paint the whole thing and just keep all the darkness in the recesses, and that would certainly give it a sort of metallic-y look. It depends what you want. I kind of want to go for a dark grey metallic look here, which is why I'm not totally repainting. There's almost nothing on this brush, but it's not quite a dry brush. I'm counting on it giving a sort of texture. More. But it's a two-step process. I'll have a look at the chat in a moment, folks. Thank you for your patience while I get on with this nonsense. Our National Nightmare is nearly over. Yeah, so when this is done, my intention is absolutely to get back on with the Warhammer Conquest. Now, if you've watched any of the Warhammer Conquest videos, and I have said this before, but just in case you've missed it, my intention with the Warhammer Conquest videos is to completely change the way I was going to do it. My plan was originally just to, stick to the magazine, do what the magazine says, show that in each video, and then for the occasional, important character or vehicle, do a proper full-on paint job. Show you how to do it properly. However, it's going to take me forever. And I really don't feel there's any benefit to showing you how to do the thing that the magazine's already telling you how to do it. So what I'm actually going to do is get everything built first. And then once everything is built and I've had the last issue and I've got no more issues pending and I've got everything built and ready, then I'm just going to go through and paint it properly. So I will be doing the videos. They will come back, but it'll be proper painting guides rather than here's how to do exactly what the magazine tells you to do, which you'd already know because you've got the magazine and you can see. There's no point, you know, showing you how to do what's already telling you. So that's going to be the plan. So for Warhammer Sundays from next week, we'll crack on, unless something, you know, occasional things might pop up in the meantime, but the plan is to crack on with Conquest. So going forward for a while yet, Warhammer Sundays will be assembling all the bits for the Conquest. And then eventually, once that's all done, I can then get back to making the painting videos so I can show you how to all paint properly. And it'll be doing proper painting because, let's be honest, if you just follow the magazine, they're going to look like bish. So, yeah, we don't want that. Thanks, Fox, and be stuck with that all night. Yes, well, you see, it's all about the red car and the blue car having a race. Because all Red wants to do is stuff his face. But he'll eat anything he sees, from trucks to prickly trees. But good old Blue, smart old Blue, he took the Milky Way. Right, so that's that specific colour. That's the lead belcher. And again, it's not intended to repaint it a lot. It's just to give it a little bit, if you can see, a little bit of a twinge when it hits the light. That's why I had to go ahead and do the matte varnishings. So the next colour we are going to do, it's going to be good old-fashioned durable moomin time, folks. Oh, hang on, no, I know what I've got to do. Wait, hold that thought. I need to find myself a small brush. Yeah, is my artificer. There we go. Because I just remembered I've got the bits on the head to do yet. So going back to the lead belcher. We ain't finished with that yet. I've got little bits here. I've got these little bits that the rubber tubes go in. So I am going to actually paint these a bit more than I did a minute ago. Just because these are quite small. And I really need to get them picked out. Where's the camera? There's the camera. So I need to get these bits picked out as best I can. Because they are quite small and hard to see, so I don't have to be quite so delicate on these. I can big it up a bit more. If it helps, that tune is totally stuck in my head now anyway, so we're all suffering together. At least any of us who grew up in the 1980s in Britain that would recognise that advert. There we go. That's that bit. And all these bits on the back. So I don't want to do too much. As I say, I quite like the dark effect that they've got, but I want to bring them back a bit. In camera? Yes. I want to bring them back a bit. But I don't want to just make them look like lead belcher. So the idea here is almost like a two-colour layer. We've got this colour, which is the lead belcher, which is the first highlight, and this is just to bring back some glint. I think that's everything. Yes. And then we'll come back to that in a moment. So what I need to do now, that glaze has dried. I need to tidy it up a bit now because it is a bit rough around the edges. I need to just make it a bit more tidier. So we're going to go back to making our glaze. Where's that brush gone? So 1, 2. Don't need to make a lot. And we're going to have a little bit of the bloodletter, not a lot. Handy tip, if you're making a glaze like this with a medium and a paint, or medium or glaze, whatever you're using, get the clear medium first so that you're not actually I need to go and change my water. Give me 1 second to change my water because I've got metallics in there now. Changing the water. There we go. Also did a massive trump as well while I was there. Yes, if you're doing glazes, always get the clear medium first on your brush and onto the palette. And then go back and get the paint or whatever you're using, ink or whatever it might be. Because you don't want to get a brush full of ink or paint and then put it into your pot of medium, because then you've just got basically a pot of coloured medium. Right, so let's crack on. So we want to go back again. We want to soften this glow around the eye a little bit. So I'm going to go around and just build it up slowly. It's probably a bit too watery, that. I'm going to go over the eye again as well, because it just makes it a little bit darker. But what I can do is, because it's quite a transparent colour, I can build it up and soften it out. And if it goes really wrong, I can always dry brush the yellow back over if I need to. There we go, we'll just go in with that. Because again, it'll start off a bit transparent, and as I put more over it, it'll get less and less transparent. So I'm going quite right around the eyes. And give it a bit of hairdryer goodness. Ooh. Nearly done. Okay, so we can come back and do more. I think maybe a little bit more of the red in there might be helpful. Just a tiny amount, because it's a bit too thin. A little tiny bit more. Otherwise we will be here literally all day. It doesn't matter if you put clear medium into your paint, but try not to put a brush full of colour into your pot of clear medium, because that's just sadness. Right, so we'll build this up slowly. And this is basically what is known as glazing, where you're building up a transparent colour slowly to get a blend or a fade. I'm not doing the best job of it, but we're getting there. It's something I'm not that experienced with. I've not got tons of experience doing this, but it does take a bit of practice sometimes. You might not master it straight away, but you'll get there. So you can see I'm not adding a lot of colour to the outer area of the eye just yet. That's because it's transparent. More hairdryer, back in a second. Oh no, the bridge is out! Advert is stuck in my head. Smart old Blue, he took the Milky Way. I should get paid by the Milky Way people. So what I'm doing is, you can see here, I'm building up the red around the edge in these thin transparent layers, because I had quite a hard edge there between the yellow and that red that I'd originally painted. So I'm building up the red in transparent layers, which is glazing, that's what you do. And it just means that I can control then how that actually goes from the red to the yellow. As I add more of the red, it becomes less transparent and turns it more from yellow to red. So there we go, more hairdryer. Physics joke. Pint of lager, please. Tachyon walks into a bar. Excellent physics joke. I love that physics joke. There we go. So we're trying to craft a kind of glow effect. So we can go quite wide with the red. We're trying to create this kind of glowing effect around his eyes. So you want the red to actually extend out quite a ways. It's not quite object source lighting, but it is a little bit, maybe, sort of. But I will openly admit I suck absolute chibs at object source lighting. That's why I never normally do it. Okay, so that's there. Now, because we've mixed this and diluted it with the Lamy and medium, you've got to be kind of careful, because if you go too far, Lamy and medium is basically paint. If you go too far, you'll put a texture into it. Yeah, if you go too far, you'll end up adding a texture to the bit you've painted, because you put layer and layer and layer of basically clear paint with a little bit of colour in it. So you've got to keep that in mind. It's a juggling act. It's not one I've mastered or perfected yet at all by any... I mean, I've not really mastered or perfected anything in this hobby. There's very little I'm a master of. So now we're going in with the neat blood letter. And this is really now just on the eyeball itself. Not so much around the edge, but on the eyeball. Because the hope is here, and I am kind of winging it, the hope is that once the actual eyeball looks bright red, the blending between the red and the yellow will look a little more subtle and less substantial. Because while the actual lens itself is the same colour as the surrounding area, it looks a bit weird. So we're just adding layer on layer of the blood letter to the eyeball, just to make this red. And you'll see as we add each layer, the eyeball gets darker and darker. Now it does dry quite fast, which is quite nice. Next layer. So I've got that tune in my head right now. Oh no, the bridge is out. Okay, so we'll leave that for a minute just to dry. So I'll do more. Right, let's have a quick look at the chat before I do any more metals, because I've ignored you for long enough. I've got loads and loads. Paul Di Tommaso is in. Hi Paul. How was the factory today? Dave, Butch, that model is back with a brew and a big pack of Maryland cookies. Yeah. They're not chocolate hobnobs, I'll just leave it at that. Poor little guy's been out in the town by the looks of what you're doing to his eyes, says Athol. Yeah, pretty much. He's had a hard night. He's had a good but hard night. And you know, we'll look awesome on one of these LED eyes that display different emotions. And Candygram says, Beck, he says, what different emotions? He's an angry Marine. He's always angry all the time. Yeah, it's true. You could drill that out and put an LED in there, put some clear lens in there of some sort. It is hollow. You can pop this bottom bit off. I've super glued it back on. But drilling out vinyl, not sure you're going to get a nice smooth edge. Not impossible. You could do it. It's golden raccoon eyes. Yeah, it's like Agretsuko, isn't it? It's got Agretsuko eyes. I've not seen it yet, but has anybody seen that anime, the Japanese anime Agretsuko? It's like a little, I think she's a red panda actually. It's a little red panda, and she goes to work in an office, but she gets stressed out, and when she goes out after work on her own time, she explodes into this like angry thing. If you had hobnobs, you'd have sold me, Butcher, says Gast. Yeah, it's hobnobs, man. Chocolate hobnobs. Maryland cookies. Mama Fox likes Maryland cookies. That's what we need to know. What's the weather like in Manchester today, asks Athol, as we have clouds full of rain heading down your way, Foxy. Thanks, love. Not bad, actually. It's going to rain in a bit, but it's kind of pleasant outside. I'll zoom back out again anyway. Hang on, I always forget this. There we go. Has everything moved now, hasn't it? Yes, thought it might have done. You know what's awesome, but used to be. You know what's used to be awesome, but sucks now? Wagon wheels. They used to be way bigger and fluffier inside. They went. I had one recently, and they're still. I've forgotten they were actually minging. When I was a kid, I had no taste, obviously. Let's have a look. Dad says, Paul, package is packaged and will be posted in the morning. I don't know what that's referring to. Thanks for that, Fox. Going to be stuck with that. Oh, that's the, Red car and... Athol says, instead of painting everything ultramarines, try Raven Guard or Wolves that return from the Eyes of Terrace or Greyer. Yes. If that's relating to the Conquest thing, yes, that's the downside of Conquest. It's all ultramarines. And I started painting them in the magazine. But what I'm going to do... I'm getting cramp in my leg. Oh, what I'm going to do is, because I have no real desire to paint them ultramarines, and I'm going to have a conversation with George, because like I said, me and George are sort of splitting it, so he'll have one army, I'll have the other, because he's helping fund it. So if he wants the ultramarines, if he wants the Space Marines, then I'll see what chapter he wants them to be. But if he's having the Death Guard, then I'll paint the Space Marines as something else other than ultramarines, because ultramarines boring. Let's have a look. Our bat will not allow you, Foxy, to have that slogan on the rear of the helmet, so my advice, paint it out. I don't know what you mean. What are we talking about? What slogan? Back of a helmet? Oh, eBay. eBay will not allow you, Foxy, to have that slogan on the... Yeah, I might have to just, blur that bit a little bit to sell it. Jamie Bowen says, if they can sell Liverpool FC things on eBay, Fox's Funko Pop will be fine. Yeah. Graham, this obviously, if I can't... hang on, what we're talking about? If I can't find the 2 times more shine stuff where I am, I did ask Model Maker about the Umbral gloss spray, but he gave that a hard no. Don't ever, ever, ever use Umbral varnishes. Ever. Don't. Gloss, matte, satin. The only one you ever use, and the only one I ever use, if I can reach it, that I will swear by, is the Umbral Matte 49. Acrylic Matte 49. It has to say acrylic. Acrylic Matte 49. Brilliant. That's what I did earlier on, half an hour, and I'm painting. This stuff you can't go wrong with unless you're outside and it's raining. You can't go wrong with this. It's brilliant. It's one of the best things in the world. It's the only Umbral product I would ever... And this and Mascol are the only 2 Umbral products I've ever recommended. Any other varnish, if it says enamel, don't get it. If it says gloss, don't get it. Don't. And if it's not a rattle can, don't get it. Yeah. Let's have a look. Missing a bit of chat. I cheated with my Funko Smurf Marine. I painted the eyes black, then silver, then Tamir X27 clear red. Yeah, I thought about doing that. Space Smurfs are not boring, you heathen, says Dave at Butcher That Model. They are. They're just... Everything's the Smurfs all the time. It's what's his face's Golden Boys. Was it Matt Ward? The guy that invented them. There's like a complete Mary Sue eye. Yeah. There's much more interesting ones. Space puppies. I don't know yet, but what I might have to do is, like, if I get with the Conquest stuff, if I'm keeping the Space Marines, I might just buy a whole mess of like the Space Wolves upgrade sets and just make all mine big fat space puppies. Because who doesn't like Space Wolves? I also have the Space Wolves upgrade kit for my Imperial Knight, so that might be good. Or, well, that'll be for my own army though, won't it? So, right, we're going to do a bit more glazy. Little bit more. If you're ever unsure, the answer is more. I made that up just then and it rhymed and everything because that's genius. If you're ever unsure, the answer is more. The answer is more. Always more. So again, we'll just try and get it on the lens this time. It'll probably pull up a little bit around the edge, but that's fine because that just gives a darker red line around the edge. I'm going on quite heavy, but I'm not doing it so heavy and thick that it runs everywhere. If I see it going into a blob or a bulb, I'll just pull back a little bit, take a little bit off on some tissue. Because at this point, I'm just building up the pigment. There we go, beautiful. There were a couple of little brushy marks earlier, but as I'm building up the pigment here, they're just going away nicely. Got a little bit of a splodge there, so I can just scoop that up. So you can see now, hopefully, that red around the edge looked really patchy, then I built it out a little bit around the edge, and it looks less patchy. And now I'm making the eyes more bright red, more and more bright red. It's drawing the attention away from the patchy red around the edge and just makes it look like it's blending in a bit more. So, I mean, it's still a bit of a hard edge there, but it's not the end of the world. I could do a little bit of this, and a little bit of that. And just pad it out a bit. There we go. That's fine. Just twitching and fussing, and so I'll probably do another couple of coats of red on those eyes. So I'll put them to one side again, just out of the way there. Just off to one side. I almost keep putting my brush into my coffee cup to rinse it. Downside of having your rinsey cup right next to your coffee cup. Oh, I'm getting some real pains in my leg today. Oh, most uncomfortable. My Space Marines are gunmetal with yellow helmets and backpacks, says Osric 9000. That sounds good. Am I zoomed out? Yeah, I think so. Let's have a look. What's going on there? Fox, what's the best matte coat to cover all small amount of gloss coat? Start again. Fox, what's the best matte coat to cover a small amount of gloss coat over decals? If the whole model is gloss coated, I just matte coat the whole model, because the one thing you want to try and avoid, if you've got, it's drawing time, woohoo! Where's my dad pen? If you've got like a decal, let's say you've got a decal here like that says triangular decal, and you've gloss coated underneath, or you've done gloss coat at any point, whatever, and you'll have, on a model normally you gloss coat the whole thing and then you put the decals on and you'll go over with a matte coat. If you've just gloss coated an area like that around it to save yourself doing the whole model, obviously that's got a gloss coat over it. So let's say everything's matte, but this bit you put a little bit of gloss coat down and then a decal and then gloss coat over the top. So what you've got now is this area of gloss coat here, and everything else is matte. So this is all matte, this is all matte, that's matte, but this bit's gloss. If you then go in with some gloss, with some matte varnish, and just cover over this bit with matte varnish, it's going to look different to this matte varnish, because you've got a gloss coat underneath and you've got another gloss coat and the matte varnish, whereas this is just matte varnish on top of the paint. So to avoid getting that kind of weird specular highlight just where you've matte varnished over the decal, I would probably say your safest bet is just to matte varnish the whole thing. Get all the decals on, get it all sorted, and then just matte varnish. If not the whole model, it depends what it is. If it's like you've got one bit of a model, like one part, and you've got that on there, then just matte varnish that part, because that way at least then you'll have a bit more uniformity, because you're adding matte varnish over the gloss part here, but you're also adding matte varnish over this, and it might just help mask it a bit more. Because you really just, if you just brush paint matte over that, it's going to look a bit, even if you're careful, it's going to have a different specular highlight. It's going to look a bit weird. It's also easy just to black the whole thing. I've spent a long time on a quest for a decent matte varnish, airbrush matte varnish. And every time I think I've found one, I haven't found one, because they all turn out to be a bit pants in their own way. I thought I'd found it with, and this is a matte varnish you can brush and airbrush. I thought I'd found it with the Ammo by Mig Lucky Varnish. And they are really nice to brush. You can brush them on. And it is a nice varnish. It's very simple to use. You do a quick misty coat and then a couple of misty coats on top. And it actually has instructions on the back to tell you which PSI settings to use, which, you know, for ammo is brilliant. For any varnish is brilliant, because they never normally tell you that. And they go on really nice and they're dead easy to use. The problem is, it's not that durable. It tends to come off quite easily and you get this kind of chippy effect. So I kind of went off them for a bit. But now I've started using the Vallejo Ultra Matte, which I can't show you. I don't think... yes, I can. The Ultra Matte, which is a really nice varnish. Goes on like a dream. It is very, very matte. And is nice and tough. And it can be brushed or airbrushed. So if you're looking for a matte airbrush varnish, Jamie, I'd say I'd give the Ultra Matte a try. I'll show you in a second. It's this stuff. It's the Vallejo Premium Airbrush Colour Matte Varnish. I think they do a gloss and a satin as well, because I ordered a couple of mattes and got a satin by mistake. But you don't thin them, you just put them straight through your airbrush. You can thin them a little tiny bit if you need to, but it does change them a bit. But yeah, they go on really nice airbrush. I've not tried brushing them yet. Well, I did a little test, but it wasn't anything major, so I can't say 100% they brush on beautifully, but from the little test I did, they came out all right. So you might be fine just with that. Let's have a look. It's on a model tank, but it's just to put over the decals because I put a gloss coat down to apply them. I just varnished the whole thing. You may as well. Or actually, having said that, though, when you say you've put gloss coat down to, do you mean a gloss coat just where the decal was, or do you mean on the whole model? Because don't forget, of course, if you're planning on doing weathering like enamel, like pin washes or filters or anything like that, that will also matte down a glossy surface. So if you're planning on doing weathering, I will say don't worry too much about it right now, because your weathering is going to go on top of the decals. Crack on with your weathering, especially if you're using any kind of oil paint or enamel paint filters. They will matte that surface down. It might be by the time you finish, especially if it's like tanks and armour, by the time you've done all your weathering, you might not need to apply a matte varnish at all, because it might be, if you're never going to handle it, it might be matte enough already. You might not need to do anything. Right, let's have a look. I use that for 1/72 figures, as getting an airbrush out is just a hassle for a jerk and a squirt. Ew. Right, so quick time to do a bit of the, wow, words, the duraluminum. And this is going to be a real subtle coat. If I can get the lid off. Hang on. I'm going to move you out of the way. If I can get the lid off. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Issues, technical difficulties. Where's my spatula? Can't get my lid off. There we go. Meh. It become a bit. Ooh, Gunkatron. Not surprisingly. Right, give it a quick shake. It's a bit old, this. Now I've got another one, but oh, that was a mistake. Oh. I need a tiny little bit, so I'm not going to open a brand new one for that. Just for that, so we'll put that there. There we go. A little tiny bit. Now I'm not putting this on the wet palette, and again, not just because it's a metallic, and I've learned from Simon. A, because it's a metallic, but also because these Vallejo metallics are they're like mercury. They are super, super thin. So this is a paint where you really do not need, in any way, shape or form, to thin them in any way. You'll never need to do that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a dry brush, but not a normal dry brush. I'm going to zoom in for you. I'm going to get a bit of paint on the brush. You see how thin it is, it's just coming away with the surface tension. I'm using my regiment brush, it's not a dry brush. I'm going to get most of it off. And these colours are fantastic for shine and specular highlights. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to get it on camera, and I'm just going to go around the edges. A bit like we did before, but even more. Just around real edges, and this is why it's a two-step highlight process, because we did it once with the lead belcher, and now we're doing it again with this colour, and this is brighter than the lead belcher, so it will act as a second specular highlight, and in some places it will go over a darker coloured area where I didn't get the lead belcher that's still matte, and it will enhance that. Because we've got a lot of it off, most of it, get the swath on there, because we've got a lot of it off, I can get the kind of scrape effect. So for example, on this magazine, there we go, just on the edge, and then a little bit in the middle maybe. And again, this isn't really going to be a massive colour difference, it's just to give you a little bit of a, if you put it on a spinny round thing, you'd get the little specular highlights coming in as the light pinged off an edge. So really small areas, really subtle, little touches. There we go. See if I can get that in there. A bit more around the muzzle, maybe, just to bring it back to life. I know you can't see, but there's little scratchy marks on there now because I brushed it carefully. I'm putting a bit more on the magazine because you can imagine that's pulled in and out. Ooh, that would look a bit more shiny. And then we'll do the same on the backpack here. So I'm not being careful, I'm not being tactical. I'm just getting that brush on the edge and dragging it around. I can scrub it back and forth here. I wouldn't recommend doing this with a decent brush like this really, but it works sometimes. So it catches the edge of these vents. I will come back and actually dry brush these vents with a darker colour because they need to look sooty. A bit more paint on there. In fact, what I'm going to do, because it can be quite aggressive this to a brush, so what I'm going to do is stop using that one and I shall get an old brush. I shall get my Army Painter Scruffy brush, whatever the brush that was. I don't know. I've covered it over with a bit of tape that says Scruffy on it now. So, but this one I think has been a bit hammered. So, get some of the paint off on my hand. I'm not too fussed if this brush gets gnarled up. Now I might need to go back and just fill in some of the darker areas, like the inside of these little vents where it had like there's some null oil shade in there. So I might go back in, and I've got some of the paint in there. It's not big, I can touch that in later. There'll be a little bit of cleanup to do, but that is fine. But it's a good way to effectively get a chipping effect on bare metal. Like I said before, obviously don't get paint chips on bare metal, but you do get areas where it's been rubbed or scraped and you have a bright bit compared to a dull bit. And doing it like this, so you get little brush marks, little lines, is always a good fun idea. See, all the bristles are like sticking out individually. That's where you get the little lines from. Okay, so that's there. We've got similar to do on the helmet here, but I can't really do this technique because these are too small, these areas. So for this, I am just going to go straight in with and brush, take some of the paint off, and just pick out a raised area here, just at the top, just so it gets that little specular tinge. There we go. These paints are lovely, because they're so fine. If you brush paint them on, you don't tend to get like little particles and grain. You just go on really super smooth. So there you go. You can see now it's got a bit more of a metallic twinge to it. And I can do the same on here, just on these edges. Edges, we don't need no stinking edges, senor. There we go, just a little bit there. Not doing it super careful because I want it to look a little bit like scraping. Again, this is all a bit stylized anyway, so it's not end of the world. So there you go, bit of definition on there then. So it just means now if you were to rotate this, you get the little twinkle when it goes round and moves about. Just makes it look a bit more interesting and lively. We've not got much left to do now, actually. We're nearly getting there now, I think. We'll try a bit of the neat paint on here, just to give it a sort of polished look. So I've not got much paint on the brush, but I've got a bit more than a dry brush. Get a bit on these little nubs. Not been doing much with chat today, I do apologise, but I'm keen to get this done, so we're kind of rushing a bit. There you go. There. So now your metallics have a slightly scrapey look. Paul de Tommaso says, I see now. I don't know what we're talking about. Eric Graham says, I'm an arrogant American, what's a street waffle? Only the finest thing you'll ever put in your mouth, apart from kebabs and curries and all the other fine things. Right, I'm going to go and change my water again, because we're done with metallics now. So give me 1 second, Focarinos. Diddly bomb, diddly bomb, diddly bomb. Yeah, I am returned. I am returned. You can now stop panicking. I am back. Get rid of this out of harm's way. And get some fresh tissue. What have we got left to do now? So what's left to do now is we need to do maybe a couple more touches on the eye lenses. We need to. I was going to paint a lens on the rifle scope, but I think I'll just leave it. I need to do a little bit of goldy gold on the rifle, on the skull on the rifle. So this should be nice and easy. We'll just do the same as we did before. I'm going to take a little bit onto my not wet palette. I need a tiny amount, so I'm not going to crack the wet palette out for this. I'm going to get a fine brush this time. I shall use my small layer brush. Use that one. My artificer. And this is just purely for, if I can avoid leaning on that brush, purely for the aquila on the rifle. First step is to get a little a tiny bit of water. I need to go in first of all with some gold. So we're going to go in with the Retributor. Remember, this was Retributor armor with a layer of Agrax Earthshade. So I'm just going to go over the raised areas with Retributor armor first. Just a little bit. Remember that I've waited to do this until after the matte coat. This is why I waited. Because if you do this before the matte coat, when you matte varnish it, you end up with just matte gold. Which is not what you want. That's there. Little bit of gold on the skull. Okay, and then for the next step on there, this may seem to make no sense, but the next colour, when doing gold, can sometimes be handy if you do silver. I know it makes no sense, does it? If you can get your silver open, a little bit of Stormhost. Oh, that's not even shaking. Hang on, let me shake this properly. Oh, it's all gone funky in the pot. Let me just, I'm going to have to stir this with a stirring device. Hang on a minute. Move that out of the way. There, you go there. You go there, that way. Right, this has gone on mingy in the pot. Let me just do some proper stirrage. I've not used this in a long time. It may have died. It may be no more use to anybody. No, it's going to take me an hour to stir that. You know what we'll do instead? I will get some more tissue because I ran out. I forgot to get some. Take that off. What I'll do instead is I'll go straight back in with my durable moomin that we had earlier on. And what I shall do is very fine highlight of durable moomin. Just very, very fine touch. On the raised corners and surfaces, just to give it a little bit of bing. It's kind of faking. You wonder why you do silver over gold. It's kind of faking the idea. When you look at something shiny in gold, it can go from a gold colour, an obvious gold colour, to like an almost like bright yellow or silver colour. It's just the way the light's reflecting and going shiny, so you're kind of faking the shiny effect by painting on some silver highlights. Just a little bit, little tiny bit. There we go. Which makes it a bit more lively and interesting. I'm sure it's on camera. Now, I do need to tidy up that top edge a little bit because I got a little bit of gold where it shouldn't have been gold. So what I'm going to do for that, I do have on my wet palette some black already. I'm going to take the tiniest amount because it's some of the gold has gone over a bit that was actually just shaded with Agrax Earthshade. So just to make that hide away a little bit, very, very fine line of a slightly thinned normal oil. Just hides that away. There we go. Normal, matte black even. It matches the other side now. There you go. Bit better. It doesn't help that the details, like if this was a proper Warhammer figure, that would be a piece of easy nonsense. That would, because it's all the edges would be nice and crisp. Because it's not. All the details are kind of soft and fluffy, and it's hard to actually pin edges down properly. So it's quite tricky. I'll just go back with some gold and just see if I can just tidy it up a little bit more. Just a touch. Got my hands rested and everything braced. There we go. It's quite hard because it is a soft edge. There we go, almost. Is it better? There we go. That's better. Much better. There we are. It's a bit neater. Little bit neater. There we go. Anyway, you get the idea. He's got this nice little gold aquila. My right leg is actually quite painful. I woke up this morning with, you know, like, I'm just standing up for a sec, you know, when you get cramp, but before you get cramp, you get that dull ache and you sit there thinking, I'm going to get cramp in a minute. But I never got the cramp. But now my other leg is doing that dull ache before cramp. It's like, oh. So hopefully you can see now, I said, with the metallics on the bolter, the sort of metallic shading that we did with the two different metallics, that's the kind of effect we were going for. Now what I can do to enhance that further, I will do in a moment and show you, but for the moment, we're going to put that to one side. I'm going to go and clean my water once again, because it's got metallics in it again. Right, so I'm going to give the eyes one more quick blap of the bloodletter. One more quick blapulon of this should be enough, I think, now. And of course, when you're doing this bit, if you thought that your reds perhaps on the armour are a bit underwhelming and a bit dull, you could put this over the reds on the armour, and that would make them pop a bit more, make them a bit brighter. But you can see here now, I'm doing coat after coat of this, has really built up a beautiful bold red colour that stands apart from the red that I put round the edge, which I'll just go back and do another little bit of, just to give it a bit of an outline. It just helps it stand out and makes it pop. There you go. There you go. Lovely. So that, I think, is the eyes pretty much done now. They've got a nice little bit of a hint of a glow that sort of fades away. It's a bit rough there, but I can always dry brush some yellow if I need to. But I think I'll be happy with that. We can put that to one side. You go there. Got one more step to do, I think. A couple more steps. Have a quick swig of tea. Right, coming up to 4:45. Do a quick swig of tea. We'll do some sticker giveaways. and I'll see if I can get the last few steps done. Because what's to come now is I've got some dry brushing to do. I've got to do some earthy dry brushing and touching some of these black bits where the chips have fallen off. Some earthy dry brushing just to make them look a bit dusty, make them blend in with the base. And then I've got to put some greenery on there. And that's it really. Maybe a little bit of a shade in some of the recesses just to darken it, but I don't know yet. We'll see how the earth comes out. Might do the shade first. In fact, I'm going to do the shade very, very quickly. Just very quickly now in just some areas. It's just going to be... where is it? A bit of Agraxer shade. Now remember, Agraxer shade, if you don't shake the crap out of it, it dries gloss. So don't not shake it. Double negatives, I know, they're not ideal. But don't not shake your shade. Always shake your shade. So, I need a brush that I can use. That's not terrible. That'll do. So for this, I'm just going to be a targeted recess shade, which I don't often do. But for the sake of speed, I'm just going to quickly do a recess shade. Strangely enough, in some of the recesses, just to make them, because as I've done all the chipping and everything else, they've kind of faded away a bit, some of these recesses, and blended in a bit too much. Just want to bring them back out again. Now, because he's going to be dirty, I'm not being too careful. I can go in quite easily and just blap it into the recesses. There we go. Nice. Like here, you see, as I've done the dry brushing and stuff, it's hidden a lot of the recesses. There we go. That's nice. Bit of there on that, like that. If I get a bit of a halo around the recess panel line, that's fine. It just looks like a build-up of dirt and grime. That's fine, it's just dirt and grime. So you can be quite quick and down and dirty with these if you need to do this kind of shading dead quickly. Just to bring back the edges. It's basically a pin wash, but it's actually over a matte coat because it's had the matte coat done. But because if this was like a nice clean model and it didn't have any chipping or weathering on it, then yeah, you might want to do this because you would get that halo of your wash around the edges. But because he's dirty and grubby and filthy, I can get away with it. So it's just a quick panel line recess wash. Strangely enough, just going over some of the panel lines. There we go. I know I'm going to have a lot of earth around his feet and stuff, so I'm not too fussed too much about those. A bit around there. Just making some of these edges pop a little bit because they have kind of blended away a touch. There we go. Especially on his hands and things because they've got quite... In fact, I'm just going to brush it over the hands because the hands will be dirty anyway. The gauntlets would get quite dirty, so they don't mind if they have a bit of extra dirt and filth. Filth and dirt and filth and dirt. Filth, dirt. Filthy dirt and dirty filth. A little bit on that. Just makes it pop a little bit. We'll do some around the recess of the pauldron. Again, not being too careful. If it's a bit slapdash, that's great because it makes it look more random and natural. Nothing wrong with that at all. A bit in there because it's faded and blended a bit. We'll do where else? I'm not ready to do too much really. A bit round here. There we go. We'll put a bit of dirt and dust back on this thing because it's got a bit clean in the brightening process. So what I'll do is I'll put a little bit towards the bottom here. It'll make it go a bit matte, but that's fine. I can live with that. I will need to go back into the middle of into the centres of these vents and put some Nuln Oil in there later on. For these, what I can do is run this in like that. Because these need to be dirty, because these are like thruster vents. So of course they're going to have some Mingatron going on in there, which would make them less shiny as well. So I'm not doing the outer rim, just... Apologies, it's all shaking a bit. Because it's quite a heavy model. A bit there, around the edge. There we go. So that'll go a bit matte again now, but it's fine because it's a thruster anyway. I'll just put a little bit there because that's got a bit fadey. You could basically do it, come and go as you please with these. It's just a good way of making things variated a bit. What I can do here is put some of this on this bit here and then get it off my brush and just mix it away. That'll just give me a bit of a matte patch where these vents are compared to the shiny rest of it's now shiny metal. And I think that's going to do us. I need to put that there. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get down to Electric Avenue and then we'll take it higher. So it's time to have a look through the comments. We'll do some stickery giveaways and then I'll do the last few steps. And then I'll go and have my dinner and then happy sleep times and then Monday. Now, if you didn't know, you might know this, but don't forget, there's going to be much excitement on Tuesday because I'm going to the Warhammer Worlds, but not just me. I'm going with Dad, and I think Dave, you're coming, I think, and Chris is coming. I don't know if Dave's coming, actually. I can't remember who's going now, but I know Chris is going for sure. Simon Reynolds, I think, is coming. It's my chance to meet Si, because we've not met Si yet. Chris is going, Dad's going, I'm going, and I think everybody else is going. Yeah, so we're going to be at Warhammer World Tuesday from about lunchtime or so. So if you are in the area and you're not stuck at work, do come and say hello. You'll recognise us. Right, quick look at the chat. Put him there for a second. Quick look at chat. I spilled my Agrax Earthshade twice last night. You need. That's what you need. Right. Vasily says, my mum almost slapped me the other day because I said she was older than dirt. Well, he deserved it then, didn't he? That's a rude thing to say about your mum. Oh, hello. I forgot to turn email off on this. Right. I spilled it on paper towel so it was lost, says Edward. Yes. Get or make or a holder of some sort is the best thing. More Draka says, I've just posted up some pictures of the bloat drone with the blood of the blood god on the flesh mower. I would like any H and T hints and tips for a better job on the next drone. I assume that's in the boom hook. We'll have a look in a bit. Butcher that model, Dave, is complaining because he said, why did I pick a sub with so much photo etch? Yes. Phil Lewis says, my wife doesn't like age creeping up on her, so I stopped doing it. Here all week, try the fish. Thanks for coming. Come again, try the fish. I can't go to Warhammer World. I'm having to chop up dead animals that day. My job is so glam. Oh, I thought you were coming, but not to worry. We'll see you at some point. We'll do it on a day when you're not at work, maybe one day. Cynical Steve says, tried to blag a day off work for Warhammer World trip, but work got evil and said no. That's the whole thing. You don't blag a day off work. You tell them you're sick on the day. And then you ask us not to put any pictures up on Facebook, and then we forget, and then you go on Facebook, and then you're fired. Okay, yeah, good point. Right, let's just stand up for a second because my leg is giving me so much jit right now. Ooh, great discomfort. I should unzoom, didn't I? I should be on Zoom. Right, so let's do some. I think I'm up to date with the chat. I think I probably missed a lot. You'll spot Chris from Birmingham, says Dad, and we will because we'll be wearing a bright orange Gross Models hoodie, I suspect. Right, we know what time it is now, don't you? 4 today. 4. Who else gives you 4 stickers? Who else gives you sticker giveaway? Oh, my leg is hurting so much. Ow. Who else gives you sticker giveaways like I do? Nobody looks after you like I do. Probably for the best that nobody looks after you like I do. Right, it's sticker giveaway time. It's time for me to blow my nose again time. God damn it. So, you know how it works. I'm going to be asking some questions. Oh. In fact, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to turn off notifications. I'm going to ask some questions, and whoever gets the answer right first in chat will win a sticker of their choice. Now, as you all know, by this point in the proceedings, there's often a lag between the video that you're looking at with your eyes here, video, this thing, eyes, don't know what that means, universal, as an octopus, look. I can do it better with my right hand, hang on. An octopus. Shut up. Anyway, so yes, there's a lag between the video and the chat right now. So to try and be fair to everybody, before we do anything, I need you to hit the refresh button on your browser, refresh, and then when it's refreshed, drag the slider across all the way to the right hand side to make sure you're as up to date as possible. So refresh and drag, refresh and drag. Yes. And then what we'll do is I'll ask some questions. The first person to get the answer right gets to pick a sticker of their choice. So what we're going to do is I'm going to write some words. I'm going to put BAPS, rolls, balm, oven bottom, silly, stoke, name. And there goes the hairdryer falling off again. So we've got BAPS, rolls, balms, and then oven bottom, which people in Bolton and Stoke call balm cakes. It might be Bolton or Bury, actually. Take it back. Bury, where they call them oven bottoms, I think. Anyway, it's if you don't know what this is 4 different names for a balm cake, for a roll, a BAP, a balm. Don't say tea cake, I will come and slap you. Tea cake's got raisins in it and stuff. So there we go. BAPS, rolls, balms, and oven bottom. I think it's Bury. Can I have chip? It's like, you know, I go into a chip shop and I'm like, can I have a chip balm? Because I say balm cake. Can I have a chip balm? You might say, can I have a chip roll, chip bap, chip bun? Can I have a chip oven bottom? It's stupid. Wherever that comes from, it's just a stupid name. I'm putting it in there just to embarrass that part of the world. Anyway, right. Paul Di Tommaso says English muffin is now instantly banned from everything ever. There's no such thing as an English muffin. Unless you're outside of England. Right. Okay, so we have 4 stickers. I will now, from my arse, pull out 4 questions that I'm going to make up completely. Right. Trying to think of questions. Can't think of any questions. Let's have a think. Okay, right, here we go. I'm not going to worry about spelling because you might not know it. Earlier on in the show, I was talking when we were painting the eyes. I mentioned a Japanese anime with a character who struggles at work all day with depression and then explodes at night when she goes out and gets into heavy metal and stuff. What was the name of that character? Go. It's also the name of the anime. She was a red panda. I think she's a red panda. And Django is straight in with Agretsuko. Yes, correct. Agretsuko is... I wasn't going to worry about the spelling, but Agretsuko is correct. That is the name of the character. The angry red panda, says Raging Bassist. So well done, Django. You've got... and I would say Django, I mean just Django. But not just Django, because it's just Django. Not just Django. Which sticker would you like, love? Which one do you want, love? Which ones? Do you want BAPS, balms, rolls, or oven bottom silly berry name? Which one would you like? Which one would you like? Well, we'll sit here and look at you and point at you like this. I'm pointing at you quietly. Although I can't do quietly. BAPS. You want BAPS. You're always right to want a nice BAP. Nice pair of... They're moving on. So, just Django. Even though it's just Django, not just Django. There you go. Remember, if you've not done this before, if you do win a sticker, you need to send me an email to this email address here. It's fox@modelmakingguru.com. I do tend to send them out once every 100 months. Here's all the ones that I need to send out so far. I've got many to go. I tend to pile them up for a few months and then send them all out in one go. So if you're waiting for stickers already, you still need to mail me if you win one today. And I'll have, like, if I've got 13 emails from you, I know you've got at least 13 stickers. So that's Mephiston Red Dad said, going to Django. Just Django. Not just Django, but just Django. Oh, it doesn't get old, that, does it? It does. I would have picked BAPS also, says James. BAPS is always the right answer. So we have We've got Chris, we've got Gross Models, Butcher That Model, and me. I've got the twinkly nose, as always. Think of the question now. So next question. Next question. There we go. Here we go. Here's a question. Space Battleship Yamato. Yes, what is the registry number for the Space Battleship Yamato? Like NCC 1701 is the Enterprise. Space Battleship Yamato. Go. I'm hoping this is what it says on the box. So. Oh, hi, Print Guru. Print Guru's in. It involves letters and numbers, I think. Yeah, letters and numbers. And Beck Storm is in with BBY01, which is the correct and Geffarten answer. Well done, Beck Storm. You've won yourself and sticker, strangely enough, because we're doing stickers. Would you like rolls, balms, or oven bottom silly berry name? Which one would you like? Butcher That Model, Gross Models, or me? Candyman from Mongo references a completely different series and says that Seven Sark Zevon was annoying. That's Gacha Man. Battle of the Planets. Chris says, oh wait, oh that's my Wi-Fi password. So who got that? Yes, Beck Storm. Let me know which sticker you would like. Chris doesn't want to be picked last, so gross. There you go, Beck Storm. Well done, Beck. You've won yourself another sticker. Send me an email, fox@modelmakingguru.com. The address is always on the screen. Always on the screen. That's that one. Now, I'm dying for a wee, actually. I have to go for a wee when I've done these stickers. Right, next question we have is something I'll need to check before I ask it now. Hang on. I'm going to check something before I ask this question because I'm smart. Let's have a think. Let's have a think. Right, ready? My favourite ship in the whole of Star Trek. My favouriteest ship in the world of Star Trek. All of it. Is it my favourite? Yeah. NCC 1864. Which ship is that? Go. Beyond Hope says, found a 3D model for the X-Bomber from Starfleet last night. Didn't know Queen guitarist Brian May wrote the English version of the theme tune. Wow, did he? Wow, Starfleet. I know so many theme tunes. Beyond Hope is correct with the USS Reliant. Yes. What about Reliant? She's on her way. Well done. So who was that? I've just forgotten already. Yes, Beyond Hope. Well done. Would you like balms or rolls? Model Making Guru rolls and Butcher That Model balms. I've heard that rumour. So Beyond Hope, let me know which one you would like. I shall write your name on the back. And then that will be the one that you get. This really is a case of me looking around the room asking for questions and things. Butcher That Model balms. Yes. There we go. Nice one. Thank you, Beyond Hope. Don't forget, by the way, if you do win a sticker today or any time, when you send me the email, put in the title that you won a sticker so I can see it in the inbox really quick, because I have a big pile of them in the inbox and I filter out everything else. But also make sure you include your name, your address, and if you're not got your actual name as your YouTube name, like Beyond Hope isn't your actual proper legal driving license name, whoever you are, if you win a sticker, make sure you put down your name, your address, and your YouTube name if it's not your actual name, just so I know if I get a mail from Dave Johnson, hi, I won a sticker on Sunday, and I'm like, I haven't got a sticker with Dave Johnson written on the back, because your YouTube name might be XX Ace Sniper XX, so I need your name and your YouTube name. Right. Yeah, Fox is this week's fat kid. Thank you, Andrew, says Butcher That Model. Yeah, I'm always the fat kid. Right, so last question. Oh, I've got to do this. I've just got to fluff my microphone because it's got some strands hanging down. I know it's noisy. It's also very relaxing. Oh, so soft, so soft. Right, so last of all, last questione. Ah, the Miranda class ship, says Beckstorm. Yes, my favourite. And it's a bit of dust. Yeah, a bit of dust that does. Right, so last question. Well, that's irritating. Just found out I left the top of my extra thin cement loose last night. A fair bit of evaporation. I've done that before. I've woken up in the morning and I've gone in the room and I'm like, oh, this room smells like glue. What have I done? And I've left the lid off and it's like, oh, yes, it's quite annoying. I'm just adjusting my cutting mat for no reason at all. Right. Last question. I've written a number on my hand, and the number is actually a letter. Which one? Go. Kind of need a wee. I need a wee. Big wee. Take time answering. I just need a wee, you know. Whoa, it comments. Wow, that's exploded. Yes. See if someone can beat thy creator to the fastest finger. Let's have a look. We have... Wow, hang on. It keeps moving and I keep losing. Right, start again. Raging Bassist. Thy creator's doing the usual go through each one by one. Let's see if someone can beat him to it. Gross Model says Wedge. Oh, it's jumped again. Right. Stop answering now. Okay, I'm trying to... It keeps jumping and then I lose where I am. Right, hang on. I'm going to read them out so I know. NYABZCD3. Who says 3? ESFABC 8. DAEXGKSH HP DYFGV HX 7. James, you know when I said letter? BXFKUAO. I see what you're doing there. 0, apparently. C, Widge, VHDF, 0 again. GUHVR, 5, KUII, NWVE, WQ, M. Finally, Phil Lewis says M. Good God. How did... Thy creator, how did you go through the entire alphabet and forget M? You kind of got a bit through the alphabet and kind of stopped. Oh, well. Yes, so who got that? I've just moved it and I've forgotten who it was now. Oh. Phil Lewis, yes, M. Well done, Phil. Congratulations, you've won yourself the Fat Boy sticker. So again, all you need to do is send me an email, fox@modelmakingguru.com. Address is down here with your name, address, and your... If Phil Lewis isn't your actual name, which I suspect it probably is, just tell me you want a sticker and we'll get them out to you. So that's well done to all 4 of you lot. I shall put them in the bag of sending, which I will eventually get to sending out. So I will do it at some point. But like I say, if you're waiting for stickers already, like I know thy creator's waiting for about 32 stickers in there. There's about 32 of them in there. A few of you have got multiples. You still need to mail me each time, like I say, because I use the inbox. My email inbox is basically people who've won stickers and everything else gets deleted. So, as I've dealt with it, so that's how I know when people need stickers. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go for a great big wee, because I need a great big wee. And then we'll come back and we'll get this little puppy finished. So I'm going to turn off the microphone, but I'll give you some music. Have we got hang on. I'll give you some music for a minute. Back in a minute. And we are back. And Dave Barker, what are you doing calling me on a chat call in the middle of a show, you spoon? Are you pressing buttons again? I don't know. Right, so, yes, everything done. Put the gloves back on again. Oh, new gloves. Separate them out. Right, so I've only got a few last little bits to do. Yes, Dave Barker has the habit of butt dialing people into video calls. Special. I don't know. Yes, says Chris says, is it a video call? Yes. I don't know. Right, so let's get this sucker with a capital S, not an F, finished off. Because I've got to be honest with you, I've lost my mojo on this a bit because I didn't like the way the chipping came out, and I'm kind of bored of it now. I will be honest with you, I am bored of him now because you know when a project goes on for too long and you just get tired of it. This is the kind of thing I finish in a couple of days normally, but because it's done on the interwebs, it's taken me weeks. And if a job goes on for that long, you just end up losing the will to live with it. So I have kind of grown bored of it a bit. So let's get him done. Right, so what we're going to do now is a little bit of dry brushing for some earthy effect. Earthy effect. Ba-doo-ba-doo. So we've got some Steel Legion Drab, which is a fantastic earth colour for dry brushing. Yeah, if you work on a project and it goes on for longer than it needs to, it's easy to get fatigued and bored with it. And I do get bored very easily. And especially if it goes a bit awry like me with the chipping on this. It's not quite turned out exactly as I wanted it. So I'm going to get some Steel Legion Drab. Gonna get this on the dry brushing, which is yes, a dry brush. There we go. Get most of it off. And all I'm going to do is just really concentrate around the feet. To be honest, you should always try and make sure this is a golden rule of model making. If you're doing any kind of diorama or if you're doing a miniature like this, a base of some sort, golden rule, and I can't stress this enough. If you're making a diorama or a base like this for a model, do not just make the scenery and then plonk the model on the top and that's it. Because that's not how the universe works. If you make a scene, let's say it's muddy or dirty or snow or something like that, and it's got an environment in it, again, mud, dirt, snow, something like that, I challenge you to go and stand in the middle of a muddy field and not be covered in mud. Too many times I see it all the time, people, they'll make a beautifully painted model and they'll do some beautiful scenery, but never the twain shall meet. You'll have a tank in a muddy field, but there'll be no mud on the tank. It's like, did it just appear there, like from a great height? You should always tie the base and the model together. There should always be a connection. So if your figure stood in a muddy field, put some mud on it. If in this case it stood on a dried up lake bed, for example, this is what this kind of suggests, then Steel Legion Drab is kind of a very similar colour to the Agrellan Earth, so it's a nice little colour to add. And it just means it ties in a little bit. So I'm only going up as far as like the knees. I'm not going much further than that, because they're just tying in. You know, you go and walk through a muddy field, you'll have mud up your shins and in your shoes and dirt, but you won't have it halfway up your arm unless you're a spoon and you fall over, in which case it's hilarious. Now I'm not really doing mud here, but it does come out as a kind of muddy colour, which is fine. So I'll build it up a little bit on his knees, just a touch. And it does mean obviously obscuring a bit of the detail and that we've painted in, but which is fine by me because it does cover up a lot of the chipping that I wasn't happy with. So I can live with that. But I'm getting less and less as I go higher up. I'm doing less and less towards the top of the knee. So it really is just mostly down the bottom of the foot. But it gets more towards the bottom of the foot and less up towards the knee. And what I shall do as well, do one more little pass. This Steel Legion Drab is a wonderful colour for just getting that quick dusty dirt look. Now if I wanted to suggest maybe there was a lot of dried dust and dirt, I could have started with a much lighter colour, done that first, having it down, and then gone in with this darker colour and done it lower down and gone from a dark to a light colour. That would also work, and that would give you the effect that he's got some dirt and dust and mud and also some dried dirt that's a paler colour. So there we go, that's that. I'll do a little bit up there, just something to give it something. There we go. And maybe a bit on, just a little tiny bit on the hands, because they'll get covered in dirt and mud probably, I suppose. Just a little tiny bit, and that'll do everything now. There's nothing I need to do for that on the head, so it's covered. It's actually covered up a lot of the sins of the chipping, and it does make it look a bit better. So it's maybe a little bit happier. I'll get that dirt and dust off there. We're not finished with the Steel Legion drab yet though, because if you remember, I said at the start that when I did the base I put the Agrellan earth on here, but I forgot to paint it brown underneath. I just went ahead and put the Agrellan earth on the black primered and painted base. So what I'm going to do is, this is where Chris gets to laugh at me now and feel better, because I'm going to take it straight from the pot. Yeah, but this is because I'm doing it as a texture and everything else. So I'm going to get myself the Steel Legion drab, and I'm just going to paint it into these bits where there's gone too black. It's kind of lost some of the little chips of paint. I've used the Agrellan earth, which is a crackle paint, and there's just some little areas where it's gone. There's a little gap that's a bit too big. It looks a bit weird, so just quickly paint that over. Get that on there. Any other bits I need to do? A couple of bits at the back. It's a real quick fix. It's not perfection, but it's fine. Because what we can do now is we can give him a quick blast with the hairdryer. You're getting to see me doing fast work now. Usually you get to see me do no work, now I'm doing fast work. Quick blast with the hairdryer. Hair drying. Okay. Now, what we do now is we need some. Not that. We need some super glue. Why do we need super glue? I will tell you with my face I'm talking. Little tiny bit of super glue. And handy tip when you're getting super glue from a bottle, get some tissue. Clean the bit of super glue you've just got out off the nozzle. And that way, I've lost the tip now. Oh, where's the tip of it? Oh. Hang on. Where's the... the nozzle that came off the top has vanished. I think it's rolled under my mat. Hang on. Oh, frustrations. Wer ist? Got to move everything now. There it is. Yay. Yeah, don't just stick the top on. Wipe off the excess. We're going to need a cocktail stick. Cocking tail stick. And we're going to need some shrubs. Shrubs. I love these. It's like, they're almost like little creatures. I love them. They're just awesome. And what we're going to do for this is we're going to get some tweezers. Not my best tweezers, because I'll be sad if they get covered in super glue. Going to get some tweezers. Get some of the little grassy lumps. Oh, grassy lump. Now these are the Games Workshop ones. You get some super glue and just touch it to the bottom here. Now you don't need to glue these on. They are self-adhesive. They do come with built-in stick. But you might just find they stay on a bit longer. I mean, they won't really come off, but especially if it's a model that you can actually play on the tabletop, you might find taking it in and out of your skirmish box or however you transport them, eventually you might find them sort of starting to pop off. So you can just super glue. You can use PVA glue if you prefer. Don't use a lot of super glue, because if you put a load of super glue on, like big dots, then what you'll end up doing is you risk the super glue evaporating away and putting putting frosty, snowy marks all over your paint job. It can frost out over the paint job. So we'll just put a few of these on. It's like little tiny creatures, aren't they? They're quite adorable. But yeah, these are the Games Workshop ones. Other manufacturers are available, of course. I just happen to have these. Now, they are slightly self-adhesive, but not massively. You can't just plonk them on. And they are really handy. They can be used in coordination with lots of other, you know, vegetation products and things for your dioramas. I took a load of these and I combined them with some more super glue. Combined them with the Ammo by Mig sheets of grass. They have like sheets of like bushes and grass and stuff. So I combined them all together. When I did my Imperial Skitter, go and watch my Imperial Skitter build. You'll see how I did that. It was like a sheet of the grass texture with little tufts here and there to round out the edges. It's quite cool. So we need to do a lot of these. Just a few. A few here and there. We've got a lot of space on that one. Try and keep them random if you can. I do like to double them up in some places just every now and then to just make new and interesting shapes. New and interesting shapes. And there's all different sizes. You get big ones and little ones. To try and vary it between the big and the small. Although the small ones are quite difficult to actually get off. And apply glue too, because you're going to put a lot of glue on your tweezers. So I'll just apologies if any of this is not on camera. It's almost not on my tweezers. Yep. A little bit, just a tiniest of touches. Again, I say you don't want to go too heavy. The last thing you want is a little frosty stuff appearing on your paint. Because it can. That's why I'm always reluctant to wield super glue anywhere near a paint job, because it risks ruining it, and it's caused by the solvents in the glue as it flashes off and evaporates. The vapors that come off, they just frost over the paint. You can clean it up, but it's an immense pain in the backside, and I just recommend avoiding it, getting to that point in the first place. Okay, so there you go. It's a really simple little base, nothing complicated, a little bit of grassy tufty goodness. I'll do one more, because they are kind of adorable. It's like little tiny furry creatures. We'll put one there, just to double up with that one. There we go. And sometimes I like to have them hanging over the edge, just to make it interesting. But yes, if you've got any bits where like the paint textures come away, or you've got a really egregious big chunk of the texture paint missing or something like that, just stick a fluffy thing over it. Nobody will ever know. Right, so that can go back in the box. We want a shrubbery. Oh God, I regret everything. It says Beckstorm. I don't know why. We'll have a look in a minute. Dave says he loves the Grelin Earth. It's a good thing to play with. Underpainting it first. Yeah, I totally forgot. I was kind of rushing and just slapped it on and was like, oh, I forgot. Oh. But yes, you can these crackle paints. You can paint a different colour underneath. Like Chris is on his dragon, he's going to be doing like a lava base, so he's got the black crackle paint over an orange base. It's quite a cool idea. Can't wait to see how that comes out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave him for a second. Breathe on him, because we've got one last step to do on that earth. There's nothing left. I'm happy with the head as it is. I think I'm happy to leave that now as done. What do you guys think? How do you think that looks? Do you think that needs anything else doing to it? I think I'm quite happy with that. So I shall apply that to the head. We have a little bit of dirty rustiness on his vents on his engine. See what I might do very quickly, very quickly, is I might just do a very subtle bit of. I happen to have some. Have we got some here? Abaddon Black. Abaddon Black. A little bit of a dry brush. Very quick. If I can find the tissue for the dry brushing. There we go. So it's not often you get to see me work at full speed. I do actually have a full speed. I have been known to paint an entire Space Marine in a day. like properly. I've been able to paint like a group of 10 Space Marines in like 2 days. So it has happened in the past. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the vents from his backpack and I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing, but streaky like this. Can you see that? Yeah. Do it in this direction, because then that's in line with the vents themselves, because they go that way. So if I make sure the dry brushing is all in that direction, a bit more paint. I do ba-do ba-do do ba-do do ba-do ba-do. I do ba-do 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 do do. Oh, just noticed that Guthorm. Oh yeah, Guthorm. I forgot about Guthorm. He's there. There he is. I always forget him, bless him, because I get so busy. I set up at the last minute, always at the last minute. Right, so that's there. So again, we'll make sure the streaking on this is in straight lines from the vents, as if it's like coming that way. So there's not as much dirt and dust on the top end vent there, because that's where it's all coming from. There we go. And we'll do the same on the other side. It's not often I actually use black dry brushing as a weathering method, because it's a bit too simple. But in this situation, I'm pushed for time. I'm also pushed for enthusiasm. Yeah. There we go. So it just gives a slight carbony, dirty layer to look to it. Again, not on the outside, just on those vents. It just makes it look a bit more interesting. I'll put that there. Paul Di Tommaso, the local Warhammer shop is giving out free Space Marines for people to paint and enter into painting contests. Yeah, they do that. If you go into Warhammer shops, they often have like a whole load of... Because what they'll do is, most of the Warhammer official stores, if you go and sit down, they'll teach you the basics of painting. The guy will sit with you for an hour. I mean, you can in a lot of them, you can actually book in to do painting, like how to paint, they do like how to paint, how to play and stuff. Especially with kids, they'll sit. If you book in advance, they'll absolutely do it. And if you haven't booked in advance, sometimes if it's quiet, they'll sit and do it. They will show you the basics. So they always have a selection of dudes ready for painting. So the head's done. There's nothing else I want to do on the body now, because I'm bored with it. I'm being honest here, I really am. A swig of tea. The one last thing I want to do is get some Agrax Earth Shadings. Agrax Earth Shade, you say? I do. I say this. And we want some... I want the Viscount. I want some more space on my damn desk. I haven't got my... Oh, I thought I had my I thought I had my green shade. I don't have my green shade. I don't have it here. Oh well, never mind. Not the end of the world. Get some Agrax Earth Shade. Make sure it's shaken jolly well, because I can't afford for this to be glossy. Oh, there's two last things I want to do actually before I do this. Maybe. Yeah, I know what I'm going to do first. Before I do that, that's for oil paint thinner. That is right. This is my pledge 2 times more shine. Pledge 2 times more shine. So what I'm going to do with this, you might be wondering why I've got this out. I'm wondering where my brush is for it. What I'm going to do for this is dead simple. I'm simply going to... That's for PVA. I'm trying to find I've got a brush that I use specifically for pledge and I can't... Oh, there it is. That's it. Yeah, that's Canopy glue. No, that's not the brush. Oh, you know when you have like a specific brush and you can't find it anywhere? How very frustrating. Oh, well, we'll use this one. What's that one? That'll do. So, all I'm going to do, dead simple. Little container. Pledge. Or gloss coat of your choice, doesn't really matter. I just happen to have pledge. It smells like strawberry daiquiri and that's always a good thing. Very quickly. This isn't for protection. This is just to make the metallics look even more awesome. A very quick coat of pledge 2 times more shine on some of the metallic parts. Now remember how we gave it that dry brush of the metallics? because we'd already matte varnished it. What I'm doing here is just adding a little bit in places, not all over, not on everything, like maybe just at the bottom here and in that bit of the magazine, on the top here. And all it will do is it then adds a bit of extra shine to some parts. I'm not putting a ton on, not massive amounts, just a little bit. It just gives it a bit more shine compared to the bit underneath that's maybe only got a little bit of a dry brush of the metallic colour or the original metallic colour that's got a matte varnish on it. So we get on here, quick blip around the edge, just around the very edge. Just helps that to stand out a little bit. It's not changing colours, it's all about tone and variation. It's about making something interesting visually to look at. So it's painting a model is not just about getting a nice colour. It's not really about just applying colours, it's about textures and specular highlights, and that'll be Amazon delivering something for Mama Fox. I'll just hear her make sure she's heard it. I think she has. Yeah, she's up. Yeah, it's not just about painting things nice colours. It's about creating different textures, different effects. So for example here, you've got a lot of this model is matte. So you've got the matte varnish on a lot of it. You've got some of the model that, since it's been matte varnished, have been painted over, like the eyes, the lenses, and other bits where I've painted over the matte varnish. So it's a slightly different texture. It's not as matte as the varnished areas, but it's not quite shiny either. And then you've got bits I've just gloss varnished now, which will now be glossy, where the other bits aren't. So it's all about you can vary texture, and there's other ways you can do it. This is just one of those ways. So I'm just going to get rid of that little bit of gloss varnish. Osric 9000 says, I thought that was my doorbell. Yes. Mama Fox and I have both got a lot of stuff turning up, so I have ordered myself, amongst other things, I've got turning up today at some point, a USB hub for my computer. Little 4-way powered USB hub, which I hope means I will be able to have, apart from, because I've got 3 USB ports on the front of my computer, a USB 3 and 2 USB 2s, and the USB 3 one exploded. I mean, I pulled the thing out and it went and just shattered and I can't use it. So I've got 2, which is fine for, say, live streams like this where I've got camera, microphone. That's it. That's fine. It gets a bit more tricky when I've got, like, if I want to do 2 cameras, like a camera here and a camera pointing a different way. I'd love to do that. Or if I need something else plugged in. Can't do that. Like, you know, Chris has got his magic buttons that he presses and things pop up in the chat. I'd love to do that. I can't with 2 USB ports. So I've got myself one of them little USB hubs, and hopefully what it means, if it works, is that I can just connect that into the PC, and then from then on I can just have a camera connected, I can have my microphone connected permanently, I can have, if I do get myself one of the little sort of magic button things, I can get that plugged in. So that's what I'm hoping anyway. So that should turn up later on today. Probably no difference to you guys. I don't even know why I told you guys that, because it makes no difference at all to you guys. But it does mean, for example, I might be able to have 2 cameras on the go on a live stream. You know, if I'm doing something, I might be able to kind of live stream where I can be in the chat, looking at the camera and talking, and then suddenly turn away and do a shot of the desk. It's an option. So there you go. Now I'm just going over this earthy tone with some Agrax Earth Shade. This will hopefully make the earthy tone look a bit more interesting, not just like dry lake bed, and it also helps shade in some of the little gaps where, you know, some of the Grelin earth came off and you can see the black underneath. And what I will do is go and quickly grab my green. I'm not being careful, I'm not covering everything. I'm just slapping this on, as Ted would say. Because what I can do is, if I go and get the green, give me 1 second. 1 second. That's more than 1 second. I know. I want, yes, there we go, lovely. Ooh, lovely. Folk handles. No, I want O's. Letter O's. I've got some Athonian camo shade, which is a lovely, sickly green colour. Yeah, delightful. And what I can do is I can wet blend a little bit. Get some of this green in there. Now I know it suddenly goes from being a dried lake bed to something that looks like it should be damp, but it's got the crackly effect. It's just changing the colour a bit. It's just varying up a little bit, that's all. Using your imagination to make things interesting. It's a bit more interesting than just leaving it as the grell on earth. There you go. Blends it in a little bit. There we go. Lovely, 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 lovely colour. I'll come back in with the Agrax, because why not? Why not? David butchered that model. Hello, Mama Fox. Somebody at the door. Yeah, she don't watch me Sunday show. She watches Monday night. She don't watch Sunday. There we go. So I'll do a little dark spot here and there. Now it may well be that I put it on quite thick, so it may well be it comes out a little bit shiny. If it does come out a bit glossy, I can always give it a quick black with some matte varnish. I'm going to go over the feet a little bit as well with the Agrax shade, just to put back a little bit of shading that was covered up with the dry brush of the dirt and dust, just so it's not just all flat dirt and dust colour. There you go. So just have fun with weathering. There's no rules other than just keep it awesome. There we go. So now you've got a bit of variation on the dirty dusty colour as well. It just goes through, it's got a dark brown tone to it. So hopefully that should all dry matte. If not, I say if I need to, I can quickly give it a blip with some matte varnish through the airbrush if I need to. And I think, given the fact that I'm actually bored senseless with this build now, I think that's going to do us. Let's just get that closed. I shall put the head on. Well, I won't put the head on just yet. Put that on. I'm not going to hairdryer it because that can sometimes make the shades dry a little gloss, which is not brilliant. So what I shall do, I shall put that there. Have a look at the chat. Wow, a 30-minute wee, says Chris at Gross Models. Cynical Steve says it's quite apt that Fox has gone for a wee and the screen says stream starting soon. Too true. Too true. The stupid yappy dog from next door but one, the one that's got the dumbest bark in the world, is barking. Fantastic. It's not dead yet. Just sent you an email with a sticker and the Angry Machine resin shoulder pad, says Beyond Hope. Thank you very much, dude. Shut up, dog next door but one, you moron. Paul de Tomás says, Bear asks Rabbit if he has a problem with poop sticking to his fur. Rabbit replies, no, not at all. Good, says the bear. Bear grabs the rabbit and proceeds to wipe its butt with the rabbit. I like that. Good, I'm not the only one getting a little tired of him, says Eric Graham. And Chris says, yeah, but Fox will still be here next week. Yeah, that's the problem with anything I do on a Sunday, is it's going to take a while because I do a little bit of work and then by the time I finish the stream, I'm tired after going on my dinner, and then it's like the evening, and then I haven't got the energy to carry on. So, yeah, they do take weeks and weeks and weeks. So you do get a bit of fatigue, which is why I'm quite glad from next week we'll just go back to doing the Warhammer Sundays, and I'm just building stuff. Because then, building stuff, I can just like get a podcast going, and once the stream's finished, have my tea, come back and sit down and carry on. And it's not a problem. Then the next week there'll be something new to build. And I am like 50 odd issues behind now, so I need to get all them things built. I need to convert the front bedroom from being full of black bin bag like packages with magazines in and boxes with things and books and all kinds of stuff in to being 5 skirmish cases and maybe a big skirmish case, big battle case with some vehicles in it that I can then come back and paint later on next year. I lost my mojo with the Acer Rasak miniature when the staff broke. Really put me off resin models. Yes. I'm decorating the bathroom after Christmas and I cleared it with the wife. I'm allowed to build a shelf with 3 seashells. Yeah, I like that. You should have just done it and not actually cleared it. And then she's like, what are you supposed to do with the 3 seashells for? And you can say, you don't know. How can you not know? I'm just going to unplug a charger from the iPad. There we go. Theft and Shrubbery. Says Beck Storm says Google theft and shrubbery. The tufts are like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop, says Dave. Yes. Let's have a look. Steve, Mrs. is making me feel noises. Mrs. is making feed me noises. Catch you later, people. Thanks for coming in, Steve. Have a good rest of the weekend, buddy. On 2%, Vasily, I think his battery's going. On 2%, will be ejected from the Big Brother house soon, so I will say goodbye now. Thanks for coming in, Vasily. Take care, buddy. Big Day 48 in the Big Brother house, and Vasily's battery has run out. He's a bit screwed. He's gone. Alberto Grajala says, hello, everyone. Hey, buddy. You've come right at the end. Aww. Hi, guys. Hope everyone is well, says Underdog. Hang on. You were in earlier on. Did you go in and come out again? Or go out and come in again? You were here earlier. How come you're just coming and saying hello? Yeah, it looks like Vasily batteries went. Oh, well. If you're still with us somehow, take care, buddy. Oh, God, now they're shouting the dog from next door, but one that goes... Blah, 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 blah. It's got the stupid bark. Like a dog. It goes woof, 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 yeah? This dog just goes... Bah, 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 bah. That's all it does. And it goes on for ages and ages and ages. And you know when people have got a dog that goes in their back garden and it goes... Rah, 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 rah. And most normal people will either shout it in or somehow feel some sort of guilt associated with their dog in the garden making a lot of noise. No, they just kind of... You never hear them shouting it. It just sits there and goes... Rah, 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 for like 10 minutes and then stops. And one day it'll get hit by an anvil falling from the plane or something. Or a plane will crash into just the dog. Or it'll fall into a hole in the ground that will be swallowed by a volcano. Or I don't know. Something good will happen. I don't know. It makes me angry. I love dogs. I just don't love that dog. Right. So there's nothing more I want to do to this chap. I'm not going to put his head on just yet because you can't quite see. So yes, next week when we come back, we will be doing the Warhammer Conquestings. So I don't know where I was up to. It'll be building some shizzle. I think last time we did it, we finished the Death Guard Rhino. I think that's the last thing I did. So it's probably building Space Marines. I would guess we're probably building Space Marines. Probably. I don't know. Oh, he says went for his dinner, says Underdog. Gross Model says shizzle. Or if you're posh, it's shizzle. I've got a whole load of brushes I need to clean now. Good God. I don't need to clean that one. I don't care about that one. That's a gloss varnish brush. I've got to clean all these brushes now. Oh, don't need to clean that. That's a not brushing brush. Trying to have a think now. So yes, we'll be doing that next week then. We'll come back to the building stuff, and it'll be good then because I can just crack on and build and get the backlog down. My front bedroom is just filling up with packets and packets, and it's getting me stressed out because it's like, you know, it's like anything. I hate having a project where I get behind on it to the point where catching up on it is almost impossible. You just get drowned by it, and it's horrible. I hate that. Stay there. You go there. You just go there. And I hate getting to that point where it's overwhelming, and you just get and you panic and you stop thinking, and suddenly you can't process anything, and it just gets put to one side. So yeah, that's not going to happen. So we'll crack on. So there we have, just waiting for that Agrax Earthshade to dry. We have there basically finished. And I'll put some pictures in the boom hut later on if I remember. But we have basically finished the Angry Space Marine Funko Pop. And it's, if I hadn't spent 6 weeks doing it, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But I do have another Funko Pop to paint, so you can guarantee that I'll get painted. However, when I do the next one, which I won't be doing on a Warhammer Sunday, but when I do the next one, I might not sell this one because I'm not that happy with this. I probably won't sell it. I'll probably do the next one and sell it. But when I do the next one, I'll do proper airbrush shading rather than dry brush shading because it just doesn't work. Or at least it didn't with the yellows. It depends what colour I do it. It might work if I do it with different colours. I have found doing other stuff, I think this texture that came out, this leathery texture, I think that's down to the paint. I think it's the yellow paints that I used. For some reason, they seem to give that texture, because I got the same thing. I got a little bit of that on the Sazabi as well. I don't know if it's the Avalanche Sunset. I don't know if it's the Uriel Yellow. One of those two tends to not like being dry brushed very well. Whereas things like the red, the Mephiston Reds and the Evil Sun Scarlets and stuff, they're fine. They have no problem. They dry brush beautifully into that kind of blended effect. But I mean, I'll show you on the shield. On the shield for the Sazabi, same techniques for the dry brushing. The red is beautifully baby butt smooth and looks all shaded and dry brushed. This has got that same texture, but a little bit smaller. But this has got the same texture. All the same colours as this, reds and yellows. It's just got that slight texture to it. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think it's those paints, because I've tried it with different brushes, different things, and it seems to be the same. So I think it is those paints. So we'll see. Anyway, yeah, when I do the next one, I'll do a proper airbrush jobby, and I won't do quite as much chipping. Yeah. So I think the chipping, I did too much chipping, and that kind of soured me on it. I was kind of enjoying it up until that point, but that soured me on it, and then I lost the will to live with it, really. So it's a shame, but it does happen. But it just goes to show, it happens to all of us. We get that mojo loss, and it can be quite frustrating, but just stick with it. And if it is really bad and you really do lose the mojo and you really can't be bothered, just put the model to one side and forget about it. Come back to it some other time. There'll be some time down the line when you go, oh yeah, crap, I forgot I've got that kit. I've got that thing that I never finished. And you might be inspired to go back and do it again. So you never know. So if you get to that point, just put it to one side, go and do something else. Never try and force anything. I had no choice. I had to finish this because I need to get this done. And I can't do half of it on streams and then say, oh yeah, I gave up with it. Because that's rubbish. So yeah. But there you go. So well done me, I guess. I don't know why I said that. I do recommend if you're able to get one of these, they sell them in they're supposed to be store exclusives, but you can get them online on the Games Workshop website. I do recommend getting yourself one of the unpainted grey primer coloured ones. There's a bit of clean up with seam lines, and it's a bit of a faff because it's vinyl, but you'll have fun painting them. They are good fun to paint as long as you don't make a mess of the dry brushing. Yeah, I do recommend. They're only like 10 or 15 quid or something. Good fun, and they look kind of cool once you've got it. I had to, you have to make your own base. It doesn't come with a base. But that's going to do us. So yeah, so that's going to do. I think we'll call it there. I'll have a last swig of tea. I think the Angry Space Marine looks amazing, says Candygram. Thank you very much, Candygram. I really appreciate that. I think the head came out fine. Just the chipping went a bit wrong on the rest of it. Yes, that's going to do us for this, though. But thank you very much for that. In other news, like you saw there, the Cesabe is still ongoing. I am currently in the middle of filming, and I'm just in the middle of filming some fuel tanks. Fuel tanks! Yes. I'm doing some hazard striping on the fuel tanks, because of course I am. It's all brush painting. I'm not doing any airbrushing on this now from now on. So we've got some striping to do on the fuel tanks, so I'm filming that. The bit I'm filming at the minute, the next episode, is going to be that and the black and white checker pattern for some of the parts and some other bits and bobs. Remember, that is a Patreon exclusive series. If you want to watch the Cesabe build, you need to be a Patreon supporter, so you need to go to patreon.com/modelmakingguru. Tomorrow night, Monday, is eModel Show. So don't forget that. Me, Ted and Chris doing the usual 9 PM for emodels.co.uk on their YouTube channel. And don't forget, of course, tonight, 8 PM, once I've finished and I've gone for my tea, 8 PM tonight, Chris's channel, Gross Models. Dave is off. Later, I'll have fun and don't super glue your fingers together and always get past episode 6, says David. Butcher that model. Thanks, buddy. Looks great, folks. Off to cook a roast beef night all, says Edward. Thank you, Edward. Chris Model says, well, you're leaving. I'm not finished yet. I've not said go yet. Yes, Chris's show, 8 PM, Gross Models. He's finishing up, hopefully, his Mango Drango, his big shouty dragon. So we're all finishing things tonight, hopefully. Yeah, that's it. So really, yeah, I'll be cracking on with this Cesabe. I need to get that finished because I've got other things I need to do. So yes, hopefully stay tuned for that. And I will try and do another quick look-in video for non-patrons so they can at least see where I'm up to with the Cesabe. But I've got some detail painting to do, some checker patterns and stripes. Then I've got the chipping and decals. I will be doing the decals for the Cesabe on a live stream for everybody because again, it's something I can do and just have a live stream going and just sit there while I'm doing decals. So I will make that a public live stream as opposed to the actual episodes, which are patron only. So stay tuned for that in the coming days, hopefully, if I get the detail painting done. But yes, don't forget, I say, if you're anywhere near Warhammer World on Tuesday, me, Dad, Chris, other people, I've already forgotten half the people, Simon Reynolds, and some others are turning up at Warhammer World on this Tuesday, around about lunchtime or so. So do come along and say hello. Do come along and say hello to us if you're in the area and not stuck at work. Wayne Haywood says, looks good, folks. Bye all. Thanks for coming, dude. But that's going to do us. I'm going to go and sort my tea out now because I'm starving. But thank you very much for watching this. I say I might stick this on eBay. I might not. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I might just put it in the cabinet and do the next one betterer. Anyway, yes, until next time, I shall say thank you very much for watching. Candy Brown from Hunger says, yay, 2 hours to do home stuff, then to watch the build of the foot. Oh, okay. Yeah, you mean Chris's foot, yes. Dad says donuts. Yes, Dad might bring donuts, but you've got to be there to have them. That's awesome, Fox says Skullfish. Thank you very much. Yes, anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I need to go. So, yes, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, of course, do go along to emodels.co.uk, my channel sponsors. Link in the description below the video for all your traditional model making stuff. And if you want to get Games Workshop stuff, Warhammer stuff right now, go to Goblin Gaming. Again, link in the description below the video. 20% off Games Workshop. Malifaux, Conflict 47, and massive savings on lots of other things, everything else in store. And use the link in the description below this video down there, not just their normal web address, because that link tells them that I sent you and I get a little bit of income from that. So you're helping support this channel while you're saving money. So go and do that as well. Anyway, I'm out of breath. I shall say thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. I go make something awesome like this. I do recommend one of these, actually. They are good fun. Go make something awesome. I'll put him down so you can see him. Let me rest him on something properly, so because you can't really. There you go. There you go. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. You out there, yes. And until next time, I shall say thank you very much for watching. Adios, amoebas. Oh, my hard drive had to spool up. Oh, adios, amoebas.